Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open. This will be the final day of the Trackmania competition. Today we'll have the 3 matches being played out. First will be the winners bracket final. We'll have the 3 Polish players, Mime, Deska, Forever, and Lithuanian player Auris will be contesting on potential slot in the grand finals afterwards. After this set, we will have also the lower bracket being played out. And then afterwards, we'll have the grand finals of the event being take place. So today with me, I will have Zink, who will join us, who was one of the participants from day one, will be assisting today with the cast. So how are you feeling, Zink, about this matchup that will be happening today?
It's gonna be an amazing match. I already feel it, because I've already seen how they played yesterday. It was an amazing sight to behold, let's say like that. Can't wait to see it today on the big stage.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Trackmania, the way how this will work, in this tournament, we have 4 players playing on specific 5 maps. In each of the maps, there will be 4 rounds played. So all the players will be starting with 100 points. Depending on their position, they'll lose points. So the first player will get -3, second place will get -5, third place will get -7, last place will get -10. If the players do not finish in a round, they'll get -10. After basically when their points will run out, if they finish last, they'll be securing last place and will be sent to losers bracket from this match. So at the very start, we had online qualifiers that were being played out with multiple people from multiple nationalities and countries, and then we ended up to 16 people who ended up to this event in Comic-Con Baltics. In day one, from day one, we got down to just 6 people. 4 of us are we seeing at the moment on stage, 2 of them who will be also playing afterwards. So soon we'll be ready with our match. So what are your predictions on this match? So we at the moment have Mime, who's one of the current Trackmania Grand League players, also played at the top of the professional league. Mime is, Forever is his manager, but also was a very competitive dirt player in a couple of years ago. Still is quite, let's just say, he still has something into him. Auris currently is one of the top Lithuanian players from the Trackmania scene, also quite known in the international scene as well, especially having this pace-based top gameplay style to him. And Deska was also a bit of a universal player, basically focused on tech-like maps, dirt-like maps, and still hasn't really been that active in competing nowadays, but definitely has showcased that he can still keep up, and has also in the online qualifiers and in day one has definitely showed himself, and that's why he's still in the winners bracket. So who do you think could be the potential favorites coming out from this match?
I think Auris is clearly the dark horse this time around. The 3 Polish players are pace-wise just unmatched, in my opinion. But
So of course I would say the favorite is Mime. Mime was looking kind of shaky. A lot of the players, it's their first time actually playing on stage, so there will be a bit of the shakiness coming to the hands sometimes. But some of the rounds we saw, especially on day one at the Trackmania booth, there were some ridiculous close, especially between some of the Polish guys and Bits, who is the Lithuanian player who will be playing from the lower side. So soon still some warm-ups are still happening. And around at 45 minutes, we'll be starting off with our match. So we have a very unique setup. So if you're on the stage, you will see that every single, what you're seeing, well, basically what each player is seeing, you're also seeing from the on-stage POV. It's not really visible from on the stream side, but this is kind of unique ambience because a lot of people in Trackmania, it's very unique. You can basically compete at the top level with either on keyboard, controller. We also had a wheel player, the Sander, who is the #1 player in Baltic States, who won the Baltic League, was even playing on a flight stick. So there's quite diversity of playing. A lot of people are using cameras. Also, Mime and Auris are both playing on stretched resolution, which is usually stretched is a bit known for like shooting games, but it's also quite popular in Trackmania because it really helps out on being more precise with certain maps. It seems like looks like still not on the way, so we still have some setups happening. Well, the players are slowly getting ready. So yeah, there will be 5 maps that will be played during this. It will be completely shuffled with 4 rounds. All the players will be starting with 100 points. The bottom 2, so the match will end with the bottom 2 players being eliminated. So the points will kind of work as like a life bar, if you can say it like that. And we'll be playing till the top 2 players are basically will survive and 2 players are eliminated. Will be sent to the lower final that will be witnessing afterwards. So it looks like getting all the players ready. A couple doing some last few warm-up rounds on the map. So at the moment there will be 5 custom-made maps that were by our players, also with beautiful sponsors who will manage to, especially Skytech, who managed to supply us with the computers, especially at the booth. But also at there was a bit of a like trending on Twitter that managed to get quite impressive, let's just say, FPS on the game. That was kind of a bit, let's just say, a bit controversial, not like controversial, but let's just say popping some FPS records as well. As well with a lot of people from Genesis and Nox also supplying some hardware for players to use. Looks like all the players are ready, so we'll be waiting for the match admins to start off the match. And we're ready with our first round, with the first warm-up rounds with the first map on this match. So most of the maps are in Trackmania are very like Musa, so you see multiple types of surfaces. They're dirt, grass, regular tarmac roads. Most of in Trackmania you just need to use 4 keys: accelerate, brake, and steering. Or there are multiple techniques that you can use using just these 4 keys. And there are also gears that are kind of part within the game. The main thing, especially on dirt and grass surfaces, people or the players will try to be avoiding steering when the gear change does happen, because it can allow into small speed loss, which will also be quite, let's just say, noticeable on this, especially this map, Felina, where there's going to be quite decisive parts. So on this Felina is the first map. It will be relatively straightforward map. There will be some gear parts, especially on dirt parts. Players will be trying to go on the outside lines because it really helps out maintaining the momentum. And also in this plastic part, upcoming part, after this gear, this dirt uphill, it's possible to still maintain the gear, but if they don't lose the gear, which losing the gear means that they basically steer or do a slide while a gear change happens, it makes them lose a bit of a, let's say, a lot of speed. The speed will be dropped, as Auris already didn't get the gear. It was like the top players were showcased. As we're still 30 seconds in our first warm-up round, and we'll be starting with the match. So from your player experience, would you say that how was this map like to play in rounds? And would you really believe that, let's say, the middle part with the dirt jump was kind of, let's say, a mini identity of this map?
To be honest, when I was playing this map, it was all in the beginning. If I managed to keep the gear, then it's just save everything else. But otherwise, this map is really stressful to play, especially when you have such high-level players on the opposite side. Because the pace on this map, it can go so fast. You could feel like you're playing really good, but you're like a second behind some of these players.
All right, so we're starting with our first round on the winners bracket final. So I will say the target times we might see from the top players is around 57. We just saw that Auris was not the first player who did not get the gear. Forever at the moment currently leading by falling by Mime and Deska in third place. Auris, the local Lithuanian, Fan did manage to get a gear, while there's a close fight at the top for the top position so far. Seems like all the 3 poles are fighting. Actually, there's a small grip part that you can get it. It seems like the Deska got it. Forever managed to get a respawn where he had to restart the whole part. Deska now goes into the lead. Vittel will say Underdogs, he still touched the side. Mime now goes on into the front. Auris as well with a pretty late mistake. He still managed to be in the 3rd position with Forever having that respawn being so costly that he's still in the 4th position right now. But sadly that uphill touch by Deska really threw him on the 2nd position that could have been beat this round to take. And Mime will be starting off the match with a 1 minute .06 time. I would say the 59s might be the place where we might see some of the top times coming in. The world record on this map is a 59.6. So already doing around 0.5 from world record, that's already quite solid start.
Generally, as always, this is just the warm-up round. Everyone's finding their groove right now. But yeah, just to keep up with the top times here, like with Mime right now, you really have to risk almost everything on this map. And the smallest mistake, as we saw there from Forever, it cost so much. He lost the gear there as well because of that.
Yeah, so it completely started to completely roll off. Like the small touch completely misses the gears, because the gears basically depend on what kind of speed you have for certain parts. And most of the small touch there by Auris as well. Seems like Deska and Mime at the 1-2 positions. Forever, despite having the early mistake, still got overtaken by Forever, but looks like there's a 1-2. Mime got a very nice low jump, gets a lot of exit speed outcoming on the middle part, while Deska is still in a very consistent 2nd place. Forever with an unlucky touch, bit of land jiggers coming on Sam with Auris as well. So yeah, a bit of, let's just say, a bit of pressure even early on, trying to get just used to the whole environment, how it's like to play in such an, let's just say, ecosystem. But seems like, yeah, quite solid 1-2-4 coming out from this round, and Mime will be taking with a 59.5, actually.
Whoa. That's an amazing time.
Yeah, that was a pretty good time. We definitely managed to, I believe that was like top 3 world at this point. So a very solid start from Mime already. And meanwhile, at the moment in total standings, Mime is currently with 94 points. Definitely those minus 3-pointer rounds definitely put him in a bit more solid position. But it all comes down at the end parts of the match. So let's just say the points have been like depleted when the real pressure will come in, because players definitely won't be in the last positions when the reverse finalists will kick in. So that seems like so far a relatively clean round. Basically, it looks like the gear loss was lost from Mime's side. The rest of the top 3 players are currently in
Interestingly enough, actually, Mime didn't lose that much with that right now. He's still keeping up.
Yeah, he's managed to still keep up. Seems like that for Descom forever as well. Actually, Mime is starting to catch up, risks quite a bit in a lot of parts. Ours is also starting to keep up pace, but the rest of the Polish players are still trying to get a very nice, actually, dirt wiggle from Mime. Managed to caught up to Forever as well. Ours are starting to get a bit more increase, a bit of an increase with 0.3. Forever touched a lot, sacrificed a lot of exit speed due to that. Allows Auris for a potential overtake. Deska actually doing pretty strong this match, with Deska now currently leading, but Mime also goes for a potential snacking on the minus 3 points. Will not allow the minus 3.
Mime actually did the full comeback right there.
Yeah, he managed to snipe it in the end, denying the Deska the win. Very, very good round as well, especially from the top 2 side. Both players doing 59. We actually didn't see that many 59s at the backstage matches in day 1. Also in in the online qualifiers, when the pressure wasn't that high, because it was quite relaxed environment. It was like also was quite rare, so seeing on stage when the pressure is really up there, the 2 people doing 59s is also quite nice to see. Already 2 early mistakes. The people are really trying to force for that outside lines, because they really need to go as much closer to the walls, because it allows to maintain as much momentum as possible. And both Deska and Nauris could manage to get it that properly, because it's really hard to get it. Currently it's the 1v1 between the 2 into the breach players, both Mime and Forever. At the moment, Mime had a way better approach, falling by Forever. Both Deska and Auris is 1 second behind the top 2 players from this specific round. Mime went for a very nice dirt wiggle and a very smooth landing on top of that. It's kind of hard to describe how actually hard that is to do. And Forever with a beautiful dirt uphill, especially from being a dirt main with Trackmania 2 dirt uphills, definitely starting to cash in without it, starting to close in with the 0.1 difference, but already I don't think it will be possible to gain in, as Mime will get a clean sweep the first map with a basically just losing minus 12 points, which is the absolute minimum you can get. And looks like the Polish players are definitely looking out top, coming up after the first map.
These rounds were mesmerizing. I'm still trying to process how Mime, despite losing the gear at the start, managed to drive a 59 on the 3rd round there.
Yeah, to give an idea, Mime was basically doing around 0.1, 0.2 from world record every round, showing insane consistency. As we're gonna go to Autoencoder, which is a map by the American mappers Ski Freak and Exotica. So it will be the same structure, only 4 rounds on this map. How they will still maintain the points from the first map as well, because it will overlap between all of the maps. That's how a normal Trackmania match is usually being played out. So this map is going to be the most straightforward one. That includes a bit more tech-like drift, which is basically you can only initiate a drift normally, starting from 3rd gear. However, it is sometimes you can also do it earlier with the Neo Slide, but however, we're probably not going to see that often. So it's going to be quite a straightforward map. It will all come down on who gets basically the most tightest approaches. However, at the very end, basically the finish is set on a bit more sideways. So you basically, for the most optimal way, you have to go through a triangle. And if you go a bit more on the right side, you can you can basically snipe the trajectory. So you enter the finish a bit shorter. And I feel like at this level, when like basically the pressure will be the most highest, like I already saw, like Mime tried to snipe in from the closest side as possible, but it was not enough. But we'll see the very first round on Autoencoder and see how this will all go. So on the very start of the track, you basically need to maintain the grip as much as possible, because basically the more grip you have, or at least one wheel is touching the ground, it gives a bit more acceleration. Here people will be going for the low jump. Always gets a bit too big of a higher jump, loses a bit of an extra speed due to that, but the pack seems quite close so far. Deska Mime leading in the 1-2 positions, but it seems like Auris is quite behind them as well, with only 0.2 behind. It's quite important here. keep the gear as Mime does not get it. Due to that, he loses a lot of exit speed coming up to the upcoming part as Forever, Deska and Auris are fighting for the top 3 positions in this one. In this format, it's very important to not be in last positions because it very rewards consistency. However, getting that a couple of round wins to basically get that, ensure that safety net coming up.
Mime is already
parts.
back.
Yeah, but the mistake from Auris was enough. It looks like another mistake from Mime's side, so it's currently going to be a 1-2 so far from both Deska and Forever, who had been the dirt players in the previous game. Seems like it's going to be a solid 1-2 from there when Deska will take the -3 points. However, now Mime, despite having a pretty solid first map, will get the -2 that will definitely drain his points down in this match.
Yep, cactus.
I mean, that's what tells you. Yeah. Okay. That's all you can say. But yeah, the cactus is the people are going to be trying to force that inside line. Some people go for a bit more outside approach right there, but we saw the cactus clipping happening time to time. But seems like a very close match, especially at the top side. No major mistakes from the bottom side. All the time there's pretty solid pace at the top. So far, no early mistakes. All 4 players are quite really close at the top side of the match first part. Bit small dirt break adjustments coming in the middle part. Auris is actually leading. The local Lithuanian is actually now leading the pack. But he's now currently chased by 3 Polish players from the back. No major dirt adjustment. Seems like a very close field. All players are between 0.1 second just from first to last. Deska clips the checkpoint. Very unfortunate respawn as well, because we'll have to respawn from a standstill. That will definitely put him in the -10 points, where that will drain his points down. Looks like Mime and Auris, both of them touched as well, but sadly did not lose that much speed comparing to Forever. Forever will have a proper -3 points. It was Mime with a small touch, but it will be Auris catching in the -5 at the end.
Mime. The cactus is just a Mime magnet.
Seems like it's like 2 out of 2, you know, cactus hits so far, which is definitely a bit ruining his points that he managed to basically save up from the first map. We'll see how this will go in though, as we have 2 more rounds left on this map. Currently we do have Mime leading with 71 points. Deska is in second, Forever, and Auris is the closest one to the danger zone in the bottom 2 positions. No early mistakes so far. We have seen a lot of people maintaining losing a bit of a gear there, or losing a bit of a momentum at the very start. Seems like Auris is the one with a bit slowest starts. However, for the rest of the Polish field is at the top. Mime with the early touch, not the best of the starts as well. He really tried to force that inside line because we saw how close the pack feels, so all the micro adjustments and all the micro optimizations from the turns is really needed to have a very successful outcome out of the match. As currently Deska is leading, hopefully will not do a flip from the checkpoint. Sadly, actually took it very safe line, went a bit more the outside as Deska hits the side. Lose a lot of speed coming to the uphill. Is now Forever leading the field, and Auris is in second place. Both Deska and Mime, who are looking currently in terms of points favorites, are a bit at the bottom of the field. This will make the whole match way closer, as the top 2 players don't have any silly mistakes at the end and still manage to finish off the round with a solid 57-1 at the end. But yeah, now Mime getting, let's just say, -10, -10, and -7 in the last 3 rounds has definitely drained his points. That's starting actually now close up the whole field, as there's only 4 points difference between first and third. So to keep in mind, the bottom 2 players from this match will be going to the losers final. Top 2 will be promoting to the grand final at the end of the match. As we're coming on the final round on autoencoder. We have seen pretty close rounds all the time, just some silly mistake that we usually never see. But of course, a lot of pressure does come in, and usually with pressure, a lot of weird situations starting to pop out. So far, a relatively clean start for everyone. Auris is only a bit behind the Polish players. None of the players will lose the gear. People try to risk, basically trying to reduce the airtime. However, Auris tried to went for a bit straighter approach. Still didn't lose that much. Forever a bit too big of a break adjustment. Still drops down to 3rd place. Mime and Deska currently in the 1-2, fighting for that -3, -5 points. No silly mistakes at the derp uphill. Auris took it very safe from the inside line, tries to attack it from the outside. It wasn't the best of setups. Currently, Deska and Mime really fighting for those first places, as Forever follows in 3rd place. And seems like Forever did clip a bit. And it was actually a very sick round at the top, as Mime did take the -3 at the end with the 56-9 on top of that. And Deska with the -5. And a small mistake from Forever actually cost him those extra points that allowed Auris to overtake him to get at least that -7 instead of the -10 at the end.
I feel like autoencoder was the best example of like how much pressure the players are feeling here, because the further you get in the tournament, the higher the skill level is, and also these maps, you have to risk so much. That map had so much space for mistakes just to happen. There isn't like anything you can save really.
Yeah, now the next map is actually going to be by Deska, so he's one of the players who actually made the map and is also now played to this event. So this map will contain some certain parts where people will be going under some water, so like for example at the start, but it immediately gets cancelled out with the dirt physics. So in Trackmania, when you touch water with just one wheel, you get water physics on what's also called watery tires or wet tires, where basically you get a very slippery side, but with the dirt, it immediately cancels this out. So it's going to be a really straightforward map. There's not, basically, I would say this is one of the easiest maps. Maybe the Keystone map is a bit easier. However, we might see some very straightforward rounds. However, the end part, there's a very, let's just say, weird approach entering over the freewheel block, which shuts down your engine for the last jump. Looks like we already had a pretty close round in the warm-up, so I think that gives a bit of a, let's just say, appetizer so what we could see on this map.
This map is definitely one that it is very pace heavy. Like, I don't think there is going to be a lot of bonking, let's say, but the pace is going to be the different.
Yeah, so I believe like people will be risking really crazy, like for as inside lines and outside lines, especially we saw at the start, everyone like tried to go as close as possible to the dirt outside just to get that momentum going. Everyone seems to be really close. Only Otis is a tiny bit behind by 0.1. Seems like a pretty solid 1-2-3 so far from the top field. Seems like Deska is leading, but Mime gets a bit more extra speed coming out from the tech side. As now we're coming in the Earth Valve, seems like a solid 1-2-3. Mime is a bit leading, followed by Deska and Forever. Now it all comes down. We saw a lot of mistakes, especially people oversteer a bit. Deska did oversteer, didn't hit the side, it was very, very close. Otis is starting to be a bit shaky, 1 second behind Mime currently. We have seen a lot of unfortunate touches. Deska barely made it. This turn didn't hit the side, but it will be out. Mime will be taking the -3 and securing the first place. While meanwhile, Otis will be draining down a bit in points. We're getting -10 at the end, and seems like we're starting to see a bit of a split between the top 2 and bottom 2, as Mime and Deska are slowly looking as the favorites from this match.
That last round was definitely something to behold. Those times are actually amazing. Like, I don't think even my PBs are close to that. I don't remember.
So we saw an early mistake from Otis. Let's all said it really needs to risk at every single corner coming out to the final matches. As a Lithuanian Otis did fall off from the first shot, as Mime has a really insane start as Deska hits the flag and puts himself out of the race from this round. Mime has a very stable lead so far. Otis is quite far behind so far. Deska also, so we have a bit of a boring round with really big gaps. So as long as no silly mistakes happen, we should already basically all the positions set in stone. Usually with those one mistake, I think it's basically in everything. One small mistake can start to domino, as now Deska didn't have the best exit speed coming out, and Mime will have a very comfortable first position with a 49.8. Actually, I think that was the fastest round, fastest match time from this whole event as well. So definitely Mime is showing that he's definitely putting himself as a contender coming out in this winner's bracket and potentially the whole event at the end as well.
I'm actually very curious about 49.80. Like, what position even has that? Like, if you would do that in single, like solo, is that like top 5 world guaranteed, right?
Seems like it, as Otis had an unfortunate start of the game. He really tried to push it. He got a very consistent mistake at the start. So it's all up on the Polish guys for the 1-2-3 so far. Who will get the -7 and who will get the -3 coming out in the end? Mime has a solid lead, following by Deska and Forever in third so far. We saw that Mime was really catching up and gaining a lot of, let's just say, increasing the lead coming out on the tech side, but seems like no major skill discrepancies happening and major skill gaps, as if all players are currently between 1.1, while Mime is leading with 0.2. Mime had a very nice snap underwater, trying to cancel out the wet tires under the water, trying to keep his momentum, fix his mistake. He did lose the lead a bit, but is still allowed to maintain his lead with another very consistent pace coming from Mime with a solid 49 from his side. Meanwhile, Otis as well with an unfortunate start and all the time. It seems like mistakes can't happen at this state, as he's only 12 points entering into the reverse finalist.
This is insane. How does he keep that pace up? 3 rounds in a row.
So So hopefully no mistake finally from Auris, so he gets a consistent start. Seems like Forever had an insane dirt start, put himself in a minor lead as well. Auris took it a bit too safe, thankfully did survive, but did lose a bit of speed. However, his exit speed coming out on tech turn was a bit better than the rest of the Poles. So at the moment, Auris is trying to chase the Polish players, gets a very awkward approach there. Mime with a bit of an oversteer at the end, lost his bit early position. Auris trying to go for a bit of an inside line. Looks like Mime with a bit of an oversteer, will drop down from the 1-2 position so far. Deska Forever leading with the 1-2. Auris is trying to catch up, trying to force for the inside lines, trying to get a bit extra speed, trying to catch up on certain parts. Mime barely saved it with the underwater slide, because he was also, because if the car is a bit sideways, just a tiny bit, it will lose all the momentum. Looks like there's going to be an insane round at the top, as both Deska and Forever had a fight.
Mime finished? Did you see that?
No, Mime clipped, and he got the -10 in the end.
He clipped the finish, but still, what? I'm actually confused.
So yeah, a bit of a -10. I think it's better for the rest of the Polish players trying to drain out Mime a bit. But now, Auris is only 5 points away from entering reverse finalist. So when his points will be depleted, if he places last, he will be eliminated from this match and will be sent to the lower bracket due to that. But at the same time, if he just basically even reaches reverse finals and keeps getting top 3 all the time, just not be last, and he can still survive and clutch it out to the grand final. So it's not like the whole match is, let's just say, over yet in that case. However, if you look at the total points, Mime is currently still with 39 points left. Deska in second with 33, Forever with 23, and Auris is with 5 points. So if Auris basically just needs to win a round, if he'll get that extra, let's just say, safety net round that he can, let's just say, afford to get that negative. Basically, it allows him to be last in a round, especially we saw some of the previous rounds. Well, the Polish players definitely are showing a really insane pace, and Auris is sometimes really crumbling. He can definitely keep up, but the consistency is the thing that really starts to mess him up, coming off a bit of from the pressure. Remember, he was saying bit top stages will probably like fate on stages due to pressure, which is but you know, but thankfully that won't happen, hopefully. But as he will really be closing in on a potential send-off to the lower bracket. Afterwards, he'll be starting the first round on Rusko by Kisla. This is one of the more straightforward maps. There is one of this, let's just say, gear fiesta that's kind of needed, and the middle part, where the players will trying to get the upper gear early on and trying to maintain it, as we have an early mistake, and it was Deska who had a small clip, really tries to push it for the inside, and suddenly pushed it a bit too much, and due to that dropped around like 1 point, how many seconds? 1.1 second deficit comparing to the leading field. It does allow a bit of opportunity for also Auris, but Auris really needs that first place in this round to get that extra safety net for upcoming couple of rounds. Currently, Mime is leading far away Forever in the first set. Mime has a very comfortable lead actually, but it all comes down to this gear part. Auris tries to force for the inside line, trying to get the upper gear in this part. Sadly, it does not go that successfully. Or did manage to catch up Forever, who a bit messed up his side. Mime meanwhile comes down. Here is a bit of a blind turn, especially from the drift side. Bit of an unorthodox turn coming from this man. No silly bonks here. Auris also barely made it. And it seems like this Mime you can push from the outside, and Auris crashed aside, unfortunately, but still enough for him to still barely clutch it out into third place. But yeah, Auris now be entering the minus reverse finalist, and Mime secures another -3 points, putting himself in quite a comfortable position to not be eliminated from this match.
Just when I wanted to mention how Rusko is, like, in my opinion, like the easiest map. There shouldn't be big mistakes here. Like, this should be really pace heavy. But as we saw Deska bonking on the CP at the start on the last round, that was something I haven't seen before. But this round seems to be much better. We are all in the same spot this time.
Yeah, no silly mistakes, but Auris definitely doesn't want to be in the last position, because if he gets last in this round, or if a player gets last with reverse finalists, they will be eliminated from the match. And so far he is in the last position, so he really needs to risk it for the end, or maybe hope for a bit of a mistake. From the other side, looks like he got his wish granted, as Deska had a bit of mistake, so potentially still keeping Auris left in the match. As Deska bit clipped in the side, had a small adjustment. Where is Deska? The main rise are on Deska and Auris, as there's a pretty solid 1-2 so far between the into the breach players, but all comes down to the end. Deska was really forcing for the outside. Well, he sniped, and he sniped the Auris at the very end, and due to that, Auris will be sent to the lowest bracket and be eliminated. What an insane outside line from Deska's side that managed to snipe Auris just in the last turn, eliminating Auris from this match, and we still have one elimination from this match.
Okay.
That was very, very unfortunate. He tried to take it safe, probably saw the checkpoint times, but it was not enough. And Deska really sent it off and trying to risk it for that out, and he managed to get it to basically send off, have a, let's just say, a bit less stress in the match, because now there won't be any minus 10 points coming, unless the players do not finish, well, there'll be minus 15 points. But now it's all upon the 3 Polish players. Who will be one of them? Only one of them will be going to the lower side. Mine currently in the most safest position with 33 points to spare, while Deska and Forever are both in the 2nd and 3rd place. So the 3rd player will also be eliminated from this match, while top 2 will be moving on to the grand finals afterwards.
This is going to be a really close one between Deska and Forever, I'm guessing.
Seems like a very nice approach so far by Deska. Mime still is in the lead, but seems like very good exit speed comparing to Forever.
Another
Mime
one?
is still leading, but seems like no fancy outside lines there. Mime tries to bit adjust it, but still gonna be, and Forever will be the person who will get the -7 at the very end. And it looks like Forever might be he was looking like this number 3 in this matchup, as Deska and Mime definitely looking his favorites, but however, the points are still very close. So if Forever does get last place, he will get a -7, will be sent out to reverse finalist, put himself into danger zone. However, he can still deplete the points from the other players, as Deska has only 11 points left, but maybe he can also drain out Mime as well, especially if Mime is starting to get a bit more too relaxed and starts to play a bit too safe, and Rega gets drained out to the match and potentially be put in reverse finalist as well.
I just noticed Mime drove a 57.2 last round. And that's honestly mind-boggling. I have no clue how.
Yeah, Mime is all the time just doing 0.1, which is basically close to perfect every single round. It's so hard, because that's why some of the mistakes definitely will pop up when they definitely need to force, especially trying to maintain the gears. As Forever will be put himself in the last position, and I believe that will be the round that will send off Forever now into the reverse finalists, as there's a 1v1 happening at the top side, and who will get the -3, -5, but so far seems like it'll be the both 2 players will be quite comfortable in the rest of the match, as we'll be coming on to the next part, as Mime does get the lead with the -3, and the Deska with the -5, and the Forever will be get the -7, and due to that he will be put into reverse finalist, putting himself in the danger zone of potentially being sent off to the lowers finals.
That's another 57.2.
And a 0.3 from Deska as well, so...
This map is insane, actually. You see the times Mime is driving right now, for example. You drive it yourself, you think, this seems exactly the same, like it looks the same, I take the same lines and everything. But how am I half a second slower? I don't know.
Like those are those small things that add up, like how much do you oversteer, how much exit speed, how they keep up for each of the turns. And trying to just go closer to walls, trying to reduce the travel distance, all those small things just add up, especially at the higher levels of Trackmania, where it's very important to basically push yourself higher than the rest of the field. So all those, let's just say, trying to go closest to the walls, as we'll see, for example, on this right turn, like it depends on who goes higher, closer. But basically, they get less skid difference, and due to that, they don't oversteer as much, keeping way more exit speed coming out to that turn, for example. As we're going on Rose Raid. So Rose Raid will be the maps that is the map that has certain parts, for example here, where there's basically just one tight gap that the players need to take. Also coming on this part, it's very important to maintain the grip. People will be going on the left side, trying to just maintain, basically reduce the airtime, but possible, trying to just keep the momentum going. And we saw a lot of mistakes. This was definitely one of the maps with more, let's just say, consistency-based maps from the map pack. But I think at this level it all comes down who will be the fastest. The main eyes now are on Forever, as he is currently in reverse finalist. Also, if Deska gets last, we might be put into double reverse finalist, where only one, basically the loser of those rounds, will be eliminated. So at the moment, Forever definitely does not want to be in the last position. He needs that top 2 coming from this round. Mime is very comfortable chilling with 27 points, so he's basically kind of qualified. However, still any kind of miracle comeback still can happen at any point. And seems like Forever, it seems like gonna be out of it, as he had a very early mistake, but we still, some fancy clips can still potentially happen from the top 2, and it will be coming out on the end parts of the map, as we saw some parts, especially in the dirt part, where all the players, we saw people just be forced out to the outside line, due to that getting airtime, but seems like the top 2 players, Deska and Mime, are still managing to maintain that so far. So it seems like they also go for the small clip, as actually Deska got a bit of a save there. He got a bit of an airtime from the other side, managed to still maintain it. That seems like going to be Mime taking a very comfortable first place, and Deska will be in a second. It seems like Forever will be eliminated from this match and will be sent on to the losers finals, where Bits from Lithuania and Bresso from Germany will be awaiting them in the finals.
That's the
Congrats to
server
Mime
record.
and Deska on making to the grand finals, and Forever and Auris will start are not still eliminated just yet. They'll be playing in the losers finals, but they'll be coming just after this match. But yeah, once again, congratulations to Mime and Deska on taking the W in this match. So how was your expectation? Did you believe that Deska could be one of the people who would come out from the winner's side to the grand finals? And how do you see how this match falls, and what kind of level it potentially show you, even from a player point of view?
To be honest, I did think Forever would be the second place here, especially at the start of the match and everything. But holy, Deska still, great game. That was a nice little final, let's say, decider match between the third and second place.
But yeah, it was quite close. I myself was also predicting potentially maybe even Auris climbing in, because we'll definitely see a player from other nationality. It won't be a full Polish final. But so far, Forever also looking as the favorite, especially as Morris also came. But also Bits is looking very prepared. He did have a very unfortunate match yesterday in day one, where he was sent into losers, where he had a very stacked match where he had to play against Forever and, Mime and Deska as well from his side. So we might see even Bits popping up from the lower side, but we will see. Now we'll have a small setup. We'll be set up everything for the losers finals. So make sure to stay tuned. And we'll be soon back with the loser finals between Forever, Auris, Bits, and Bresso. So stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open. I'll be soon starting the... Get them winkers in, you know.
Get them winkers more.
But soon we'll be starting the losers finals, so it will be two players came from the lower side, which was Bresso and Bits. Bresso is the German player, also was played in the TMGLC Combine, also played in the TMGL Mid-Season Invitational event at the start of the year. So it's actually one of his first LAN appearances as well, and he managed to climb himself into the lower finals as well with this. And also Bits was a bit of a surprise. He was in the lower finals, he was looking really, really good, but had an unfortunate match in the winner's semifinals where he was playing against Deska and Mime, who are now currently in the grand finals, and now their opposition will be Auris from Lithuania, who we just saw from the winner's side, and Forever, who was also just came in from losers. So some things to note that this event is sponsored by Skytech, who build a sick PC setup as well at the group stage. We'll hold the day one. At the moment in the Trackmania booth, there are a bunch of challenges happening where people can also get candidate prizes as well. Also, we had supplies from Genesis and Noxo, and also Fieldman also so you can get a vision of the game as well. And especially since you need to be so precise, you really need to see those proper pixels on the screen. So definitely why you need such glasses as well. But yeah, soon we'll be starting our lower finals match. All the players are slowly getting ready as well. So we'll have the similar structure as we saw in the winners finals. So it will be starting with all players will be starting with 100 points. So it's going to be a 1v1v1v1 with all 4 players playing against each other. So the first place in each round will get -3 points, second place gets -5, third place gets -7, fourth place gets -10, and if a players do not manage to finish in a round, will get -15. So the top two, so we'll be playing till we have 2 eliminations from this match. So the top 2 players will be going to the grand finals. However, while the bottom 2 players will be eliminated from the tournament. Of course, we're probably gonna see at least 1, maybe even 2 players from either Lithuania or there's only 1 player from Germany. So I might see a bit more diverse final at the end, but at the moment I would say Polish players are definitely looking as one of the stronger ones so far. As we're soon going to be starting with the match. It seems like all players are just ready. We're suddenly jumping into the game. So who do you see who potentially could clutch it out that slot in the grand finals? Forever and Auris were looking very, very shaky. But since Bresso and Bits, especially Bits, was also quite practicing a lot on stage to get used to the environment, so we might see a potential upset coming from here, and he might sneak himself into the finals. But we'll see what do you think who might be the 2 players who might come out into the finals from this match?
This time I feel like actually Forever will get like first place, definitely. But it's gonna be a tight fight between like our Lithuanian players here, Auris and Bits. Both of them, honestly, I like how Auris has stepped up his game so much, especially for this event and everything. Like, he's really contesting with Bits right now. But I feel great about that, at least. Great to see people improve.
Yeah, he also in the last Baltic Trackmania League, he also managed to squeeze himself into final as well, where the both 2 Estonians, Morioka and Sandor, did take the 1-2, with Bits and Auris managing to take the 3rd and 4th place. So he definitely has stepped up his game, also within the Baltic and international scene. But we'll see how it will end up here. But so at the moment he was coming from the winner's side, so this was the first match he has lost during the entirety of the event, including the online qualifiers, losing that being the bottom side of the basically player pool in the specific match. So yeah, well, last few seconds left in the warm-up, we'll be starting our lowest bracket final at the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open tournament. So the top 2 players will be going to the grand final, while bottom 2 players will be eliminated or playing reverse cup mode. And the bottom, basically, when players run out of their points, if they're put into reverse finalists, and if they place last in reverse finalist, they will be eliminated from the match. Very poor start so far from both Forever and Bits, actually. Bit of a shaky start from both of the players. Looking at the potential favorites now coming into this match, as Auris currently is leading, following the German player Bresso in 2nd place. Forever starting to catch up a bit on the Bits' side. Seems like Auris is starting to increase the lead. Bresso is definitely one of the players who is a bit more consistency favored. Not a bit lacking on pace, but trying to avoid the main mistakes. Forever trying to push it, trying to squeeze himself into that second place, really trying to get a low jump coming from that upper right as the calls comes down at the uphill. Beautiful uphill by Forever. A bit catched up on Bresso. Bresso also got a pretty good one, but the exit speed coming from the Forever side, despite having him even an early mistake so far. So we have a pretty contested top 3 so far. Aurison a bit ahead, but seems like way more exit speed from Bresso's and Forever's side, but seems like it's going to be Auris taking it, and Bresso still maintaining. We have a tie. We have a tied points, and Bresso does take the -5 in this situation, as Forever was super close. And in the end, Forever does take the -7 as Bits. A mistake at the end cost him the -10 at the end. Very sick round already, starting off with this lower final.
Imagine being saved by the alphabet. That was the alphabet advantage that Bresso had over Forever, because they were tied. Or wait, actually, do we have that?
No, that's
system?
changed. It's
yeah,
like
with the checkpoint time.
Yeah, it's checkpoint time now. It's nowadays.
Oof.
Yeah, now coming into the next first round, now Forever trying to redeem himself. It's now pushing him to the early lead. As Bits also trying to get some, let's just say, points saved for later parts. As Bresso has a touch from the inside, puts himself in the bottom position, put himself at -10 point range. Forever in a quite stable first place. No major risks coming. However, Auris had a very shaky LAN. He didn't manage to get the air brake properly in. He did try to do a flow trick at the end to save his momentum coming from the bump, but so far seems quite stable. 1-2 force coming from this match, as Forever will cashing in his -3 points, putting himself a bit of a safe spot coming at the start, as he did have the best of rounds coming at the start. And also in the first match he was looking quite shaky, but it will be Forever also with a 59.9, which is a pretty good time, and that will be the times that we might see on this match, especially at the finals as well.
There are sizable gaps being created right now.
There were different type of mistakes happening. There was a player who saved it a bit. Due to that, one gap created. There was a small touch from our side, and then a bit bigger mistake from Bresso. Due to that, solved these gaps created. But sometimes the players do risk quite a bit. They can still caught up or like cash in on some other mistakes that can happen from the other side. Usually in everything is like that. If you make one mistake, you're eventually gonna make another one. So far not the best starts from Auris, as Forever has a quite stable start. Looks like Bits did lose the gear on the plastic side. Dropped himself at the second position, a close contention between the 2, 3, 4 players. Forever definitely having a bit of a showcase of a better starts this time around. Even previous round, he managed to take a win. He had a mistake early on, he managed to stipe it in the end. Currently seems like Forever is a very stable lead. The main lies are seems like on the fight for the second place. Bits trying to go for the Oi Beagle on the side. Seems like a very close round so far between Bresso and Bits currently. Seems like Forever in his very stable first place. Looks like Bresso has a bit more exit speed, but it's just like basically identical at the end. Trying to force enter the outside line, trying to build a bit more momentum. Looks like Bresso had a better line, trying to snag that outside line a bit more. Bits puts a lot of exit speed, a bit of airtime, and it looks like it's gonna be Bits actually taking it with a -5 in the end, and Bresso with a -7 in the third place. Really close round, like trying to just an unlucky tiny airtime. Really just ruined his exit speed at the end.
It seems we just have like these beautiful fights for the second places, and then always the first place is just ahead of everyone. Forever right now, he drove like a 59.6 right now.
Yeah, it's 0.1 from world record. So Forever seems like to be a completely different game, as Auris has an early touch so far, but all trying to really get him to screw, trying to prove himself so he can potentially really contest. This really gets into your mind. If you start to make mistakes, it's really hard to like climb out of that pit. So far he's definitely trying to get change in the groove of things. But so far Bits is only one who can potentially contest him, as Bresso is quite big, only 0.3 behind, while Auris is quite far down in the back. So far Forever is leading the field.
Wow.
Bits went for try to get the extra grip to gain extra speed from the middle side, but that didn't really work out. So he really tried to go for the risk there. He really sacrificed his second position, could drop down now to 4th. Even Auris now starting to overtake him. So now Bits is quite far behind. It all comes down if he does manage to finish it in the end. Only 7 seconds should be enough to finish, at least with the finish timeout. It seems like really big gaps in this round, as Forever will be taking another -3, Bresso with the -5, and seems like a pretty consistent, nice and safe round from Forever's side, and ours will be taking the -7. So definitely Forever has put himself in a bit more safe position, especially since he had a very shaky first round. Now trying to snipe those -3 positions, increasing that, let's just say, points lead between the rest of the field, getting those extra, let's say, advantage when it comes down to real pressure rounds at the end. But at the moment, both Lithuanians are looking quite back, and with a lot of silly mistakes coming from both of them. Definitely might be an additional pressure as being the only Lithuanian players left in the tournament. But so far, seems like the Bresso might even contest in the finals. Actually, before like off stage, Bristow said that even making top 6 was already like a good goal for him, considering what the level was like at the event. So if he makes it, like I would say, on the final, he said that will be a massive icing on the cake. So far, the points are with his advantage, as he's currently, it is tied. He is tied with both Auris and himself. While Bits is only 3 points down. So the bottom 2 players, when they'll run out of the points, they'll be put in reverse finalist. And if they'll get last place in reverse finals, they'll be eliminated from the tournament. They'll be playing that till 2 people from this match are eliminated. So that'll be the format for today. And while the top 2 players will be going to the grand final, we'll see silly mistakes happening in the warm-up while people are just trying to get ready. As usually we say, the warm-up meisters, when they have a really good warm-up, but then the rounds are really, really bad. Yeah. So I myself, when I used to compete, I myself tried to just get all the mistakes out from the warm-up and try to have a consistent match afterwards. It looks like we might be the same thing. Will we see also the outside line snipes now coming at the very end, just like the Disca did?
Watching Bresso drive these maps, especially Felon, I don't know if I was the only one who like noticed, but holy, those dirt outside lines he took on Felon, those were so risky, but yet so mesmerizingly beautiful. They were so close to the wall. I'm amazed he didn't touch there. I hope he has the same vibe going here on the end now.
As we're going to be starting on the first round, both looks like Auris and Bits had a bit of an airtime. Bits really tried to force for the inside line, got a bit of an airtime. Seems like Auris will be the one with an early touch, put himself in a bottom position so far. For a little bit to try to get an extra airtime, trying for an outside line. Bits sacrificed quite a bit of speed due to that, puts Bits in a bit more advantageous position so far. However, very nice upper gear there from Forever, caught up to Bits as well, who also dropped the gear, same with Bristow. Now there's a solid 1-2 fight for the top positions. Forever really trying to push it, get a nice oversteer with the small dirt adjustment, but Bits got a bit more extra speed, really trying to cash in on that attacks with the inside line. We saw seen silly touches there, now it all comes to the end. Who gets the outside line properly? Bits had a better entry, better speed, small touch at the end, and it's almost a 7,000th of a second difference with weight.
Was that even a touch?
It was so close.
Sheesh. That was amazing. Round skipped, but...
There was an issue a bit about the points, I noticed. Bits managed to finish, but he got -5. So it seems like there was a bit of issue, but everything is at least resolved on the admin side. So there's a bit of a pause coming so far in the match to get the issue being resolved.
Pause.
So yeah, so far definitely seems like I would say a bit of an all-round. So all the time there's some kind of player who is a bit, you know, all the time, like not really dominant position, but this match seems like can go either way. There's some consistency. Let's say Bresso, for example, not the fastest, but definitely the consistent one. Definitely the player who cashes in on the mistakes from others. He does have solid pace, but it's not enough to get those -3s consistently. That puts him that, let's just say, that safety net. Similar to the case with Forever, all the time really trying to force for that, like the world record time potentially to get that 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 point world record regu pace. And sometimes, yeah, it happens, trying to also pressure his opposition to, you know, oh man, I'm doing this insane pace all the time. Can you, like, you know,
that is the Polish mindset. Just every round is a potential world record.
Yeah, hunting world record in a tournament rounds, exactly. But yeah, so far in terms of total points, seems like while everything is resolved, we have still with the situation where Auris and Bristow are still with the tied points, as the points were not given out accordingly at this system model, while everything is resolved on the admin side. But yeah, both two Lithuanians are looking kind of shaky. However, Bits definitely, if we see a peaking Bits, I think definitely he can pop himself into grand finals and maybe even can test the top positions as well. So in the early bracket matches, we have 2 eliminations, but in the grand final, it will be 3 eliminations. Well, it will basically end up with a 1v1 to decide who will be the winner of the tournament at the very end. Looks like all the players are currently discussing a potential replay of the last round due to the points distribution. Was a 6-6 round happening from the like what we saw, but you know what, this is a very new game mode. It's not really, let's say, oftenly played. This is the first LAN event using this mode, which you basically start with points and trying to lose them. It has been tested out in some regional competitions in the UK as well. I believe there were some local community-based events as well using this script. So this is the first time it's on LAN. So of course some mistakes might happen, issues here and there, but it seems like most of the event it was quite fine. But of course some mistake might happen, you know, here and there.
Yeah, it seems like the functionality itself is just a bit wonky right now.
All right, and it seems like we're back at the game stream. We'll be starting with the first round, so the previous rounds will get replayed now. So we'll be starting at the same amount of points as we had with entered rounds. So we get to let players at least get a bit more used to the map with this current environment, with the pressure and everything. So yeah, currently still a bit, Forever will be with 84 points, ours and Bresso with 73, and Bits will be with 70. So for Forever, definitely looking as the potential favorite on this match. Bits is the player who can definitely contest the Polish guys in terms of pace, but the consistency has been a bit of a trouble for him, as he actually, well, let's say that he does make an early mistake. Forever currently leading, falling by Bresso in second place and ours in third. Ours trying to get that inside line. He doesn't get the exit speed as wanted, as Bresso went for the outside line, managed to get a bit more momentum going. Ours with a very nice line, gets a gear up properly as well. Bit of a weird line to adjust. This loses a bit due to that to Bresso. Also loses a bit Forever, as Forever also didn't have the best of turns so far, but seems like a very solid 1-2-3 so far. No questions asked. Will we say any fancy mistakes at the end? Only Bresso clipping inside, but still enough to maintain his second position. It seems like will be Forever just increasing his safety net lead, as Bits with a very unfortunate -10 will put him even more down on the leaderboard. So yeah, a bit unfortunate now for the Lithuanians looking, as they're currently at the bottom of the scoreboard so far. Seems like there is some technical things still being discussed as well. As there had been, of course, you can't go with like, you know, any technical issues as well.
Isn't this just fun?
So yeah, no, from the winner's side, we did have Mime and Deska, who are currently awaiting like the top 2 players from this match, who will be coming. We're already basically waiting at the grand final, where we have a bunch of prizes in over a value of over 2,700 euro coming from our sponsors with Skytech. We'll be supplying the first place a high-end PC. We already had the exact same PC at the booth. We already had like people posting on Twitter of what kind of insane FPSs you can obtain in the game. They're just celebrating FPS records. And definitely a device that people really want to have, especially if you take them in. Also, there's other prizes coming in from our sponsors from Genesis and Noxo, and also Fieldman as well. Basically an extra check at the end as well at the venue. Yeah, seems like there's have been some issues that are trying to be resolved at the moment.
Yeah. They are trying to, let's say, bring back one round that just was lost.
Ah, okay, so they're basically,
so they're finishing in the order they actually finished that round.
Okay, to set up all the points like it was to give that extra done. Okay, I see. All right, so after that, we'll be continuing on the next round then.
We're back.
Seems like yeah, we'll be live soon. Well, not yet at the moment. Would be nice to know some message from the admins to know what is happening. So yeah, we'll be replaying, so it's all properly like 4 rounds played still on this map. So we'll be properly continuing on this map being played with all the proper points like it was set. So this will be round 3. So we'll have 2 more rounds on this map. So the currently points are. Looks like it's not live. Seems like that's. We'll be playing, but yeah, some of the issues already, but there was 2 rounds being skipped, so all of the issues, one of the players a bit disagreed with some of the decisions there with the admins. But yeah, it's
the easiest thing to do, just to not get confused in these kinds of situations, is just
of course,
drive.
like, you know,
just drive.
Well, the thing is, you know, extra pressure like doesn't make you put your mind like, you know, it's not really then there, so it's kind of hard to properly focus on certain things.
Understandable.
So okay, we're finally gonna be restarting then. So everyone's ready, everyone's on the same page. So we're finally gonna be about to restarting the final. The lowers final will finally be restarted, so the points are accordingly. So Forever it will be with 76 points. Ours is in second with 59, Bresso with 58, and Bits with 57. So really close bottom 3 so far in terms of points. However, it's still the early stages of the match. There's more than 50 points still each left between all of the players, so this match can still go any way, and especially since it's so closely contested between the bottom 3, so it'll definitely be quite spicy coming out at the end parts of the event.
Bresso with that beautiful line again. It didn't look that much faster, but still, that was beautiful to look at.
Yeah, it seems like currently it's kind of really close back. People really want to get those extra rounds in because they got a bit more used to the map. So we see so much more consistency now coming in. Ferrer still is leading the field, but very close is followed by Bits and Bresso. Seems like Ferrer didn't get the gear, while Bits and Bresso did manage to get it. Due to that, they caught up, so we have a pretty close top 3. Also top 4, since Auris is also there. He actually gets a bit more exit speed comparing to Bresso and Auris. Sorry, Bits. However, Bits touches, and Auris goes for a bit of a safer line. It will be Forever still getting the -3, and Bresso with the -5. It's a very close round, but unfortunate mistake from Bits' side. A bit too much saving from Auris' side. Definitely put them at the bottom of the field.
It is smelling nice here in the venue. As Bresso asks, who is baking waffles?
Though there's a bunch of like food vending machines all over the venue, so definitely you can try that out. So probably some, is something coming in. But they're coming on to one more round on Resco, as currently Bits is leading the field, falling. Actually, both dual Lithuanians are currently have a bit of an early start. No silly mistakes, touches. We were really trying to force the outside line from the start, as Auris actually got an unfortunate bomb that tossed him into the wall. While Bresso is also a bit behind, but not too far out from the top 2, as Bits has a very nice exit speed coming out from this part, while falling by Forever, who is currently in 2nd place, and Bresso in 3rd. Unfortunate touch there from Forever's side, and Bits is now leading the field, falling by Bresso in 2nd place. Now the real fight is actually at the bottom, who will get the -7. Unfortunate clip there from Forever, as Auris now puts in a very consistent 3rd place, unless there's a silly mistake happening on the top of the field, potentially allow him to put at the top side. Bresso tried to risk for the outside line from the dirt side, but the gap was still pretty big at the top side, as Bits takes the -3. Definitely put points he definitely needs to just endorse the safety net that he really needs, as he's currently at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Forever just beautifully showed us both clips that I have experienced the most on this map, and in a row as well.
Well, like I said, at the top of the field, you really need to try to force for the closest parts of the walls and everything like that. So trying to maintain as much momentum, trying to get all the most optimal gears, just to save those small things, basically catching up together. So it just adds up that bit of basically like you said, there's just some things that you did everything perfectly, but somehow others are still 1 second behind. And those are the things, those perfect gears, reducing the travel distance. And just trying to get closer to the walls, trying to get that momentum going as much as possible. That's the thing that saves up at the top level, and that's the thing that allows basically the gaps to create at this stage.
The second clip there, it's just devious because it's almost now like visible. So you just cross the edge, and one moment your tire just flicks up. So it's hidden, kind of.
Yeah, so currently now after this map, so we entering Passion, we have a still similar situation as we saw coming into the map 2, where Bresso, Auris, and Bits are very close in points-wise. Then there's a bit of a gap, or we call it safety net for Forever. But this map will be very close in terms of rounds, and this will be the map that, as we said, it all will come down on the tiny optimization that will come out. How close do you go to walls? How much do you reduce the travel distance? And also the main things that will create differences on either if you are first or last. Of course, due to that, with all this risking, there might be some little touches coming out here and there, but we'll see how that's happening. Especially last time we saw that Auris was clipping the outside line right here, and due to that, throwing a couple of rounds. Seems like no players trying to have an early mistake at the start of the round. So far, it seems like Forever is leading the race, following by Bresso in the 2nd place, who has a bit more exit speed comparing to also Lithuanians and Forever. Puts himself in the leading position so far, following by Bits in 3rd place. Only 0.1 difference between the top 3 players so far. Well, Bresso is currently in 2nd place, while Forever did have a nice overtake, but a bit too big of an oversteer.
Whoa.
Bits does touches out, and that allows Auris to go for an overtake. Forever still leads the pack, following by Bresso in 2nd place. Also nice the water snap that they did there. They got water wheels and they're trying to snap back just to maintain the grip. But so far seems like a very consistent 1, 2, 3, and also a bit unfortunate -10 from Bits' side. Less that one small mistake, like I said, one small mistake at this level is enough to put you with that -10 and put you at the bottom of the field. And that's way too many mistakes. Bits is one of those players who can definitely contest for the top positions at the end of the tournament, but the consistency is the main thing that really lacks. And this whole format with reverse cup mode is the thing that really basically let's just say boosts up. Some players are a bit more consistent, but maybe not the fastest. Because on paper you can still make it through as long as you're not last in rounds. However, of course, as end stages of the tournament, all the players are getting better and better. Unfortunate bits. The same thing that I was just saying. Just like he's trying to force for those, but those small mistakes just starting to add up, just coming out from risking a bit too much. Currently, we have the German player Bresso currently leading the field, followed by Auris and Forever in second and third place. Bit of a dirt snap there from Auris, trying to fix up his gear and the line. Seems like Auris Bresso gets a proper grip, following by Forever, but Forever gets a bit better lines, trying to catch it up, as Auris currently in third place, gives a nice overview. Bresso tries to risk it, but holding counter on the inside, not the best speed coming out at the end, and Forever will take the -3 at the end, and Bresso in second place with the -5, Auris in third, and again, an unfortunate mistake coming out from Bits that puts him with a -10 at the end of the round.
Bresso had a nice outside approach to that last drift there, but it seemed like he did a little correction there with the drift, so he didn't get that last little bit of juice out of it.
As we're coming up on round 3 of Passion, so far Forever again, all players getting a successful dirt outside line properly, no silly mistakes coming out. There is a bit of a difference. Now Bits is trying to play a bit safer. He was a bit of a small release as Auris now clips the side. Drops down to the bottom of the field, loses all of his momentum as Bresso clipped it from the side as well. So we now have a 1v1 currently between Forever and Bits, on who can potentially maintain most of his points, especially Bits, who really needs to get those top positions just to drain out the other players and send them lower on the leaderboard, just to give himself that safety net to main. As he clips the side, he really tried to push it, as you saw in the splits probably that it was really close. Really big gaps now due to this round, since all players except Forever had a mistake each.
Bits is really lucky to even get out of that situation as well as he did. That looked like something that just flips your car on on its head. I'm amazed he just kept his grip there.
So yeah, now we're actually Forever having pretty solid top field advantage. It's now currently with 54 points. Bresso is actually a bit of a surprise, now currently in second place. Both Lithuanians a bit underperforming, as Bits has another mistake that will send it down to even just 9 points left if he just maintains his current position. Forever having a solid round as well, having a small lead over Bresso. Auris as well, both Lithuanians are starting to crumble under pressure. Allows even Bits to overtake Auris, coming for that third place. But yeah, Bits also needs to really step up his consistency. He has the pace, at least on paper, but just the consistency is really not here today. Currently, Forever is leading. Same with Bresso. Bresso is one of the players that we said he wasn't really winning rounds, but he was just trying to play consistent. He does lose that 0.3 at the end of the round comparing to top guys, but he just maintains and tries to play safe all the time, and it's enough to cash in on the mistakes from others, and it's enough to pit him on the top of the leaderboard. As actually Forever does a very nice time there in this round. With the 49.8 and Bresso in second place with the 50.3, and with the both actually Bits still with the overtake over Auris, as Auris has another mistake, but still gets a -10 to finish off in time and not get the penalty -15 at the end.
Forever is questioning why he didn't play as well as he did right now, in upper bracket match. It's a good question, honestly.
Well, the reason is usually because since there was Mime and Deska playing that match, and usually the average pace of the round is way higher, so you need to push a bit more.
Yeah.
Since here the pace
to
is
be honest,
way
I think
lower.
it's the vibe. I remember so well as yesterday, it really depended on who were my opponents. When I had the Polish players Forever, I played the match with him, I think, yeah. I was so flustered, man. I was nervous. But yeah, the moment I reached lower brackets, then I chilled out. It was so much easier to play, and my pace improved a lot. I think it's something like that for Forever right now.
So now, if you look at the scoreboard at the moment, Forever is with very comfortable 51 points. Both Lithuanians with only 11 and 12 points each. So this might be potentially the map where we might see them in the reverse finalist, where they might be coming into a brink of elimination coming at the end. Bresso being a bit of a surprise in this match. Auris and Bits definitely the players who are faster than Bresso on paper, but those silly mistakes coming from Auris and Bits side are definitely pushing them down and allowing actually Bresso to pop off in this match due to that. As we're going on the first round, Rosary, which is a very consistency-based map, as we just speak about mistakes. There are multiple parts in the map where it's just a very tight part where you need to, as there's an early mistake from Forever's side. So Forever does make it a bit easier, allows to get more opportunity for rest of the players to basically just keep their points for longer as possible, especially Bits and Auris need them, as they're both with 11 and 12 points each so far. But Bresso is still doing pretty close with only 0.03, but Auris actually gets the grip from the black part. That gives you a bit more exit speed coming out, just with in these close situations really needed. In this third part, even though the road looks very far, there's a very tight line that you can take, otherwise you get completely thrown off in the mid-air, and all three players currently, so we have a very close fight for the top positions. Bresso with a small clip, but it was enough, and Auris clipped the inside.
Forever is right behind.
And yeah,
he
Forever
already
is pushing. He actually Forever made a comeback despite having the early mistake, and actually sniped Bresso, who was trying to just play safe in the middle part and put himself in the second position, as at least Bits gets a proper, comfortable -3 points. While meanwhile, Auris, where is Auris? Auris at least managed to finish, so Auris is on his last life points right now, so basically if Auris finishes, he'll be put into reverse finalists, and that's like the danger zone where a player does not want to be under this format.
Auris is down to 1 point, holy. That's unreal.
Yeah, Auris was the player also who came from the winner's bracket, so if he gets eliminated in the loser one, and being the first one who is also eliminated, that's definitely going to be a bit of an upset. But of course, you know, the bit of the stress and coming in as well. Was like he wasn't that happy about the admin situation a couple maps ago as well. So that's one of the things. All these things just play a small role as well. In overall, as currently we have Forever leading the field, goes for the very nice grip. Also, Auris gets a very nice grip as Bresso trying to keep it safe. But the thing is, Auris got a bit too much exit speed, and that kind of throw his line a bit off. As currently Forever is leading, Bits is trying to fight with him. Auris is pretty close there as well with a very nice fight with Bresso. So at the end of the round, Auris will either way be put in reverse finalist, doesn't matter what position he does get, but he can still try to drain out the other players as he gets a small release, who loses a lot of exit speed due to that. As there's a proper fight at the top two places, trying to drain out. Bits especially needs to really keep his points. So -5 or -3, and he'll be coming at the end, gets the water bounce. And he does snipe it with 2000s at the very end. Managed to just snipe Forever those extra points at the very end. And seems like that was so close, but it was not. But especially since really needs to keep those points again. Seems like we have a similar situation. It will be again set up properly, so all the points will be distributed properly. So the round will be skipped. The points will be set up as it was previously, so this round won't count. So it's a bit of an issue. Like I said, a bit of an experimental format, so first time showing on LAN. With a very nice comeback from Bits' side, definitely snapped those. He will get those points back, it's all fine.
He really came through with that line he takes there, because it is possible when you get too much speed there, you overjump the landing straight into the water, and then you get the bounce off of it. Usually you would like, I think it's like meant that you go submerge like under the water.
Yeah, they'll be currently replaying the round just to fix the points issue as it came from the last up. It's a bit unfortunate, but it still can happen.
Bit seems to intentionally go for the bounce and use the action.
Yeah, actually a lot of people they went for like a air brake just to get the wheels touch above the water so it doesn't glip like smoothly with the water. But yeah, that allowed him to get that water bounce, which is actually a bit faster than getting the full grip at the end. So yeah, at the moment they're just replaying the round to get the same points repartition as it was distributed last time. So Bits keeps his -3 points from the last round. Also with the rest of the players trying to finish in the proper order as it was. As we're now going to be continue on with the rest of the match. The first round did counted, so we're going to be continue on with the match. So Auris will be put in reverse finalist. So if Auris does get last place, he'll be eliminated. So the main thing what he wants to get is be in the top 3 position and potentially drain out all the other players with their points to keep us staying in this tournament. He can still potentially clutch out the grand final as well. He just not need to be last at this point. He can't afford that anymore, and a lot of mistakes, especially coming from the Lithuanians, has been the thing that has been kind of a bit of like suffering them in this match. It can be really fast, but the consistency is the main thing that's a bit lacking, especially comparing their opposition right now. Both Auris and Bits gets a very nice inside grip line. Forever currently leading the field, following by the 2 Lithuanians and the German. No major mistake. We saw so many clips early on, but seems like a pretty solid round so far. All players are between 0.2 for trying to save a bit. But we didn't get the grip from the inside that allowed Bresso and Auris to catch up. So the main thing is for Auris to not be in last. A lot of Bresso is starting to push a bit, but he has Bits as well, who has a bit more exit speed than him, potentially sniping him in the last positions. So it all comes down to the event. At the end, seems like Auris really wants to get it, but seems like oh no, Bits managed to secure the managed to still give life to Auris in the format. Only 0.07 left, and that could have been potentially it for Auris, but due to that now, both Lithuanians are in the reverse finalist position.
Double finalist.
Ideally, what can happen for Lithuanians if they send either Forever and Bresso in the bottom position, so they still have a, still an opportunity, especially if Bresso. If Bresso gets bottom 2 positions, then he will be also put in the reverse finalist. So we see our early mistake already. It was actually Forever. So it all comes down basically, now it all comes down to both Lithuanians keep that 1-2 position to give Bresso that -7 that will send also the German into reverse finalist to put more pressure on the player to potentially also send out and give Lithuania more opportunity in the final as well. Bit of an oversteer by Auris, had a lot of his line correction at the very end. Still in top 3 position, but he really needs that gets that 2nd place to put out Bresso. Basically, Bresso can't get top 2 in this scenario, ideally, but Bresso is trying to push up. Bits is trying to save it as he's in the top position, but keep in mind, we have still a 4th player in the field, which is Forever. Forever is also in the back, but seems like at the top positions. It's got a pretty big go. Bresso tries to save it. Auris doesn't manage to snipe it, and Bresso will still be left with only 2 points, so he will another security round on top of that, and it's going to be quite stressful now for both Lithuanians to play another round in reverse finalists without having a 3rd player who can potentially be eliminated as well.
That was still a good round, though. Everyone got pretty close to each other, actually, there. That was a 57.467, I think, yeah. That was a really close round. Really love to see it. Well, except Forever, I guess. But, like,
and now we're going to be coming to the auto-encoder, which might be potentially the last map. Hisaku was the player who was hitting the cactus all the time. Will we see the same thing as well?
That was Bits, right?
That was Bits, so hopefully maybe Bits won't be, because that might be a literally with a...
No, Mime! It was Mime.
Oh, it was Mime,
the
yeah.
cactus, yes.
Who touched the cactus. So this is going to be quite straightforward map. There are certain parts where it all comes down for players to keep the gear, so it keeps the momentum going properly. So it seems like there seems to be some kind of slowdown. That's mainly just because they lose the gear in the middle parts of the road, especially in the plastic section with the black surface, that is. But yeah, at the moment, if you look at the scoreboard, Forever has a very comfortable 28 points. Bresso with only 2 points. So whatever, basically Bresso, if he finishes this round, he will be put in reverse finals as well. So the main thing to look out for is for both Lithuanians just to not get last. They need to deny either Forever or Bresso to just have still stay alive in the tournament. It is still possible for even both Lithuanians to clutch it out to the grand final. It is still possible, but it's going to be quite difficult, especially Forever has been really stepping up his pace during this whole event, but there are a lot of inconsistencies coming with, so maybe at the last stages of the match we might see some miracle happening.
I just hope I didn't jinx Bits with the cactus thing right now. I hope I don't see that happen.
So we will see, as Auris had an unfortunate start. Also Forever though, so it's not it for Auris. It all comes down on what kind of momentum does he keep. It seems like the gap is way too big already. He probably saw it mistake, and it's potentially it. However, other players can also still make a mistake. Bits currently in the leading position, with the Bresso at the moment following in 2nd. So they at least they're trying to send off also Forever, trying to drain Forever with his points. If you look at the bottom, now Forever is in a quite comfortable... Actually, he's a bit gaining on Bits, who's kind of playing a bit more on the safe side. Forever is also starting closing, really trying to risk it for not allow for other players to catch up. At the top, there is Bits trying to also still basically main
Look
things
at
for
the
Bresso.
gap though, 0.09.
Basically, very, very close round at the top. And the main thing that at least drained Forever with their points. But due to that, Auris will be eliminated from the tournament, finishing 4th place in the match. It was GG's for Auris. Had a very solid performance as well, a bit like the consistency at the end. So it's now all on Bits for having a chance for Lithuania to shine in the final, as both Bresso and Bits are now in reverse finalists. So either if Bits or Bresso get last place, now there's only 3 people now, so unless Forever places last or both Bits and Bresso snipe him at the very end, we might see the match ending right here, right now. At the moment, no silly mistakes so far. Both all Bits, Forever and Bresso, all having a solid start so far. Bresso is tiny bit behind, especially going to be quite shaky to see if you're like in the red and with an 0-3 at the back when there's 3 players left. Looks like Bits had a bit of a gear issue, but seems like everything is fine. As Bresso also lost the gear, so a bit of a pressure definitely starting to come in. Bresso with a very safe drift there. So he's trying to get his consistency up. However, both Bits and Forever are really trying to force the pace up going. Forever has a solid lead unless a silly mistake, as he actually still survived it. Very nice dirt snap from both of the players, but Bresso is a bit behind. So Bresso might be the player who will be eliminated from this situation. We have seen some silly bonks. Anything can happen at the very last triangle. No, everyone stays it safe, and it will be Bresso eliminated, and Bits will make it to the grand final. So in the grand final, we will have Forever from Poland, Mime also from Poland, Deska also from Poland, so we'll have 3 Polish players, and Bits from Lithuania coming from the losers bracket will also be the participant in the grand finals afterwards in around like 15 or so minutes.
I'm glad that I didn't jinx Bits there. I'm really glad.
Maybe it was a reverse jinx, so pointing out that happened already made it not happen. So yeah, a bit unfortunate for Oris that, you know, it happened. Also, Berso actually had a very, very solid match, had a solid consistency during the entirety of the match. Was all the time in that 2-3 period. But when that 4th player is out, that 3rd place managed to pop up. And also Forever and Bits having a solid like 1-2 rounds most of the times at the very decisive parts was the thing that was kind of determined for Bresso. But still, solid performance for Oris and Bresso, a top 6 for them. But we'll be seeing now the grand final in around 15 minutes, so definitely stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open Tournament. In a couple of minutes, we'll be soon starting our grand finals. So this whole journey started a couple of weeks ago when he held the online qualifiers. From VAM, we got 16 players who qualified to the main event right here. From day one, from players from Lithuania, Estonia, Denmark, Netherlands, Germany, and of course Poland. We got 6 people left for day 2. We had our winners, we had our losers finals, and our countdown only to 4. And those are Mime, Deska, Forever from Poland, and Bits. Let's just say the only local one left from Lithuania. So the Mime is currently the current TMGL player, so he definitely has the most amount of pressure attached to him. Forever who also has been more of a campaign hunter, very focused dirt player, especially in the previous years of the versions of the game. He was really up there in terms of has really still stepped up his game. Also has had some solid individual track records on certain times. So definitely a player who look out for also pace-wise, but hasn't really that many times played in tournaments, only in some couple country championships. Same with also Deska as well. Now, in the older games, he was also playing on tech and dirt competitions mainly, with also at very, very high level. And now with the new game, he also played with the Polish team a lot in the country championships as well. We haven't really seen him a lot, same with Forever in solo events, so this was the first time, so it's very awesome to see in the grand finals. And our 4th player, Bits Listonia, one of the most, I would say, most veteran players within the scene, has played over since 2007, quite actively as well. Has been very dominant in the Baltic Trackmania League's early seasons. Lately has been around top 3 area, with some Estonians coming up to the time. Was previously also an ex-TMGL player as well. He looked quite shaky as well. I would love to see that in the grand final we might see the same bits as we saw in the early stages of day 1 as well.
It would be nice to see Bits pop off, just like in Baltic Trackmania League. But honestly, I gotta mention, just as a side note, Chad, you're doing really good. Supporting your favorite driver. Deska seems to be a big favorite for Chad at least. Also Winke, good.
So yeah, at least in the online chat, at least Deska definitely has been the favorite with all the copy pastas being spammed, but saw at least 5 different versions of copy pastas being done. But yeah, soon we'll be, around a couple of minutes, we'll be starting the grand final. The prize pool for this is brought up by sponsor from Skytech, who also brought up PCs at the Trackmania booth, where also you can try out the game out as well. There's a couple events happening there as well. You can also get some prizes. There's also a lot of hardware brought by Genesis and Noxo, as well as additional gift card will be from Fieldman as well to some of the top players as well some additional prizes at the end of the event as well. We have slowly, all the players are slowly getting ready, everyone's getting set up. So what are your predictions of this final? Oh yeah, one thing to mention, we all the time had the reverse cup mode with only 2 people getting eliminated. But this time, in the grand finals, we have still the 4 people. However, this time, they're gonna be having 3 eliminations. So it will end off with the 1v1 at the end. So this time, the points the people have been obtained till the very, very end will be very important, because it will give that extra round advantage coming to late starts of the match. Well, the pressure will be the most highest to see who will be the deciding winner at the very end. So from these all 4 players, Mime, Bits, Deska, Forever, who do you think potentially might take it, and who could potentially place where?
I think I will just go with the crowd and say Deska, man. No way Mime wins. What you mean? Wait, Deska, the main man. We need some refreshing names taking first places.
Yeah,
also,
I think most expectations are definitely on Mime so far, as he's the, let's say, the player who has the most amount of, let's just say, results, especially in the international scene. Has been basically, let's just say, quite dominant and quite, let's just say, so basically showcasing him definitely as one of the best players in the game into globally as well. So it's awesome to see him play here in Lithuania as well. Yeah, of course, a lot of pressure for him on being the good favorite. He had some shaky matches early on. He's starting to get in the groove of things now as well. All the people are slowly getting ready. So at any moment, we'll be also starting our match as well. So also Deska and Forever as well looking as the favorites. Something that involved in the competitive scene, how like except with the country championships, but I do play for Team Poland as well. Also Bits playing for Team Lithuania as well, same with Auris, who David saw in the previous match. But how do you see Bits' chances in this match, and who do you say maybe Forever also stepped up his game because his winner finals was not the best? So maybe we might see some interesting upsets, and this might be even a match that might go either way.
This will be still like the really unpredictable match, just like the last two. It's hard to say who will and who won't get somewhere. But right now, if I really have to take it like seriously, like I'm betting money on it, then I would say from first to fourth, Mime, Forever, Deska, and Bits. Those are like my honest predictions for how I see.
Those are your takes? I'm gonna say that Bits will take the win, get support this local Lithuanian crowd, finally get that. He didn't have the best results, but will clutch it out in the end. Totally not biased. But yeah, the format for the grand final, instead of 100 points, will be starting with 120. There will be 5 maps played in total. On each map, we'll be doing 4 rounds. So it can end on any of the map. The map order is completely randomized, so it can be go in either way. We don't know what map will be next. And also, players won't know what kind of map will it be on, what will be starting and what will be ending. So it can go either way. So the similar system same. The first place in the round gets -3 points. Second place gets -5. Third place gets -7. Last place gets -10. And if player does not finish, they'll get -15. Also, if like let's say mysteriously one guy only finishes and the rest of them, then all 3 of them get -15. So that's also something to clarify. So it looks like we'll be soon starting our match. Seems like all the players are ready, so we'll be most likely starting on Rose Raid. Will be our opening map at the grand final tournament. So it's gonna be the grand final between the Polish players Deska, Forever, Mime, and the Lithuanian player Bits. That will be our grand final at the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open Tournament. It took us a long while to get to this point with all the open qualifiers, with all the day 1 group stages. And it all comes down to this one match, and we'll be playing till 3 eliminations. So instead of 2 that we saw in all the previous matches on the day 1 or like on the winners and losers, it will be till all 3 players, so it will end off with the 1v1 to decide the winner at the end. Of course, that's why a lot of it gives more advantages, especially as saw previously. Getting first was just giving that extra safety net to avoid, but here, getting those extra points and keeping them will give that extra, let's just say, give those round advantages when it comes down to the 1v1 at the very end. But we will see how this all depends. We might see a really close match. Well, potentially all players will be jumping in a reverse finalist. But I think that will make the best content. But we can see how this either way will go. As we'll be starting the very first round of the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open Grand Finals. And it's going to be go on the first round on Rose Raid. So all the 4 players, we're expecting very close matches on this map. There's going to be some certain parts where there's like a small gap that a lot of players need to take, or very just specific lines, so they can't really alternate with their lines that happen they take during the race. People will be really forcing for the lines, as the peak level will be very important, as already all players are between 0-0-5 already at the very start. Seems like Forever, Bits, and Mime managed to grab in that extra grip from the black part, getting a bit more extra speed, putting Deska a bit more at the bottom. Looks like at the moment Bits going over the free roll part. Notice a bit of a shaky line from Forever's side, gets put out to the side. Like currently Mime is leading, following by the, let's just say, chance favorite Deska in the lead. In second place, currently Mime and Deska in the 1-2 positions. Forever trying to attack from the inside, like almost clips it, has to have a bit of a small adjustment, went for a small, we'll say, smaller sideways approach to reduce a bit of airtime. Seems like Mime currently is leading, following his teammate by into the breach, coming on the water bounce. It seems like gonna go over the place, and it's what a sick round to start it off as well. Mime with the 56-9 as well, Deska in second with the 57-1. It's unfortunately he pressed the wrong action. He didn't give that the most amount of speed. That's why Bits got a bit thrown onto the side instead of forward. Because there are some of these things that give a, let's say, limit your maximum steering. And when you do a water bounce, it gives you a bit more extra speed. So actually what the players at the end will be doing, they're doing basically an air brake that will cancel the car's rotation. So basically you get a small bump from the first platform. So they basically land on the water later. So they initiate the water bounce, and it's around like 0.1 faster than going. And as you see already, the rounds are basically between that 0.1, the difference between first and last. So it's really decisive, and it's kind of thing that you kind of really need to go for. As for a very unfortunate clip, especially as the block there is the free wheel part that will shut down your whole engine. So it really cancels out the whole momentum that you have obtained there. Currently, the chat's favorite Deska is leading, followed by Mime in second place. It's currently in third place. Bit of an outside line, trying to go for a bit more safer setup for the upcoming part. Deska is still leading the race. Mime in second place, Bits in third place, only 0.2 behind the race leaders. Forever also quite far behind with 2 seconds, definitely out of this race, coming out the end.
Whoa.
Looks like Mime got a low jump, but really lost all of his momentum, but it was not enough for Bits to take it, and Deska will be taking the -3 at the end.
That's something that's, honestly, I don't see it's worth the risk there at the end to go that right. Like, you can take it quite wide there.
Also, that was the personal best of Deska that he just did in the grand final. Also, 56 times, we already seeing that's basically they're doing like 0.2, 0.3 from world record, so that's quite, let's just say, really good times in terms of a round pace, and especially a map like this that's quite very technical, as Forever with another mistake early on. Looking quite shaky, similar as Auris was looking in some of the previous matches. Has the potential pace, just doesn't have the consistency, and definitely the pressure starts to snowball because everyone is doing insane times. Imagine doing 57 flat and just getting third. So it's kind of the thing that's just right up. Bits with a very shaky line. He'll still be in his third place. Currently, Deska and Mime are in the 1-2 positions so far. Mime with an early touch. But actually, now Bits allows to overtake for the second place, and also Forever, who got the early touch. All this momentum just kept getting lost, even though there's a lot of like so-called pace breaker difference. It's allowed to like just like catch up in terms of pace. So far, Deska has a Forever with unfortunate jump part. Bits still managed to survive. Forever gets put into the back. Deska has a very comfortable first place with a solid -3 points on his side. Mime goes for the safer approach, doesn't get the water bounce, gets the full grip on the bottom, and still manages to put him in the third place.
57.002 by Deska.
In the previous round, that would have been only third place, if you didn't notice.
Yeah, I know, but still, these times, holy.
Yeah, to give an idea, usually doing everything good will resolve around like 1 second from the world record. So just having like, let's just say, very in-depth techniques being done, just like reducing break time in the drifts, or just trying to take more outside land so it reduces the skid marks difference, to just keep a bit more speed. Like from this part, people are going as much on the right side as to push a bit too much, and it was Deska who managed to, just tiny bit, just touch the wall, just a tiny bit, because he tried to save those extra pixels that you really need to get that extra tiny bit momentum, because it's so decisive, especially at this point of the stages of the tournament. As currently Mime is leading both of the Into the Breach players in the 1-2 positions, following by the Lithuanian Bits in third place, with the Deska having that early mistake that cost him around 1 second from the comparing to the race leader. Currently Mime in a very solid first place, following by Forever. However, Bits is starting to catch up a bit. Mime currently solid first. But the gaps are starting to become very solid. We might see some fancy water bounces coming at an end that might decisive the round at the very end. And looks like Mime will be taking the first place for him in a second. With a very good times as well. 56.7. 37 is ridiculously fast. It's really, really insane, let's just say it like that. And Forever as well with the 56.9, which is also not too bad of a time. And Deska with that early mistake. He also hit a 57.7 with the mistake. So that's also something that's kind of noteworthy as well.
Everyone's actually popping off right now. This is Grand Finals performance for sure.
Yes,
yeah.
it's right. Is this TMGL, which is like the professional league within Trackmania? Well, all rounds basically are like this, where it's just only 0.1, everyone blowing close to perfect, so we're getting close to like peak Trackmania performance right in this match, which is quite a treat to watch.
Can't wait to see someone drive a world record in a round.
I mean, mine was already quite close, same with Forever on some of the maps.
Yeah.
Also, basically, most of the players are doing like top four times most of the rounds, which is, to keep in mind, only like 3 people. Basically, all the people who can do faster than that are in this match, basically. Maybe Auris, who was in the losers finals, but we did not manage to qualify. But most of the peaks, basically, only people who can beat them on these maps at this very moment is themselves.
Yeah.
So this is basically the peak you can see on these exact maps right here, right now. So yeah, on this map, some things to take note. The gears in Trackmania are kind of... Basically, Trackmania has a manual gearbox, so you just need to accelerate, brake, and steer. However, with this skid differences, like how big the wide skid marks are, really impact your gears and speed. It allows them to maintain. Despite being automatic, you can use gears and slides to maintain the gear, and trying to also force them up, especially with like so-called snapping movements that we will see. And also with some of the key parts that some of the players might be losing a bit momentum, especially in the plastic part, which is really hard to get actually. So despite them getting a really good and very close to perfect rounds most of the times, it will still be a mistake that we might see coming here often as they're going for like this, as I was saying, like they're so close to the outside every round. And it's a what a crazy round already started around as Deska had an early mistake. Puts him already as also Mime had an early mistake as well.
I'm surprised
it's now
only
Forever
Mime.
and Bits. Bits also had to readjust his line as Forever as well, so it's a relatively free round for Bits. However, it does all still down come to the end. There's actually multiple touches at the end. Starting to pressure, starting to turn into a massive fiesta of a round. Usually the biggest mistake part is this middle jump, but everyone gets it because their speed was way lower as Deska gets another nose slide. Forever has to readjust the line, so it's all over the place in this round. Everyone at least made 2 mistakes so far, which is quite rare we have seen so far. Mine having, despite having an early start, has a lead over 0.8 as Deska with another touch outside. It's just domino effect, so you get one mistake, it just keeps on rolling and rolling and rolling.
Okay,
it's just normal at this point.
Everyone, welcome to Felina.
Yeah, so yeah,
This is the exact same thing.
yeah, very good pace. Winning time at the grand final, 1 minute 0.8, which is around 1.2 seconds from the world record. Definitely not the times that we were expecting as the winning times, especially grand final.
Minus.
As we especially comparing to last round, where we saw that the winning times were like 0.1, 0.2 from the record. But sometimes, usually these Fiesta rounds always pop out at some point. As they're going to be coming into the next round, definitely would probably get a bit demoralizing, realizing, oh man, everyone made it this, so I'll just try to make it consistent. Now, everyone in this round will probably take it safe, or probably just caster jinx that. Everyone also maintained the gear, very close back at the top so far. All players between 0.4, very, very close round. All players between 0.3 actually at this point. Forever with a very Bits had the small release to readjust the line, gets put himself lose a lot of momentum. Both Mime and Deska went for the inside line, tried to get that extra grip. Both players tried to risk for the lower jump just to get more extra speed at the end. Due to that, both into the breach players are now in the 1-2 positions as Deska and Bits really tried to push themselves, but the risk was not forward. That ultimately didn't really pay off, and they were put in the bottom. We actually checked in the position side. Deska at the moment is in 3rd place, but however, Bits is still cashing up for those extra points. Small touch from Deska's side as well. As meanwhile, wait, Mime did the world record in the match.
What?
Casual 0.4 in a match. Okay. Okay, sit down. Okay,
Sit down.
Let's breathe a bit at this point.
Oh
But yeah,
my God.
despite everyone, he probably just could have said, it's like, you know what, I'm a world record, but let's just try to get it. Let's just say world record in matches doesn't happen often. It's, I would say, just like pentakills in League of Legends. It's a thing that is very, very, very rare, because most of these times have like more than a lot of time of preparation. Many runs have been done, and the fact that they happen like right now is absolutely insane. As we're coming on the next round, really close start so far, seems like Bits. And all the rest of the Polish players are currently very closely packed with 0.5 seconds between the first and last. Mime with a bit of a smaller readjustment, loses a bit of speed, but still managed to caught up. Bit of small adjustment, loses a bit of extra speed coming out of part, but Forever has a very good start. Since the pack is so close, everyone went for the inter grip. Everyone got a very nice low jump, so that's also way harder than it looks. Especially that everyone made it. Bit of an adjustment line from Mime's side, gets a very all players actually get a very nice exit line, so it all comes down on the micro optimizations at this point. Forever currently winning, but he had a very safe approach. Mime had a very insane outside line, put himself in the 2nd place above Bits. A bit of a shaky line, does manage to still just keep the grip. What an insane round actually between everyone.
Great race, great
What an
race.
insane round so far. Forever taking the -3 points with 59-7, and Mime as well with only 110 difference, and Deska with a 1 minute flat that would have been winning times in just a couple of rounds ago. So absolutely insane round so far. We are currently witnessing in this final. Really high level for Trackmania actually, to be honest.
All of those outside lines were having me guessing, dude.
They all just added up, and it's really needed at this point. Like you saw, Deska was already risking. Everyone even got the middle part correctly, and it was still not enough to get even just imagine like getting everything properly. I think both beat even most PBs of some of the players who qualified to the main stage as well. Sorry, to the day 1 matches, as we currently also have a very tight round. Mime currently leading. Didn't have the best line, had a small break adjustment to correct his line. But both all 3 Polish players are in the 1, 2, 3 positions. Bits is also there, but just a bit behind currently. 0.3 difference, no fancy touches. No touches. Everyone risked the outside line from the dirt uphill insanely, because when you're like steering upwards, you're really forced outside. So getting that inside line is really hard to get, especially if they get it to the best potential exit speed. Really insane round so far as well. Mime in properly with a 0.6 winning time.
It's a repeat.
It's similar as the repeat as the previous round. Insane rounds done by all the players so far. Like no mistakes, insane pace, absolutely amazing. And it's still not enough for Bits to snag in those points. And at the moment, if you look now, going to the next map, you look at the leaderboard at the moment. It has been, like, if you look at the previous match, there were so many small mistakes that just added up, and most of the times we're not seeing that many mistakes here. Like one small mistake. A mistake at this point is a bit of oversteering at some part, or not getting the proper line as you would want that puts you in like 0.3 disadvantage, and it's enough to basically lose everything. So yeah, this might be the last time we see Felina in the whole tournament and from the whole map pack. Yeah, a lot of players are quite happy that they will no longer see Felina, and it still managed to show some really sick races, especially with Mime ending up, let's just say, this map's let's just say life cycle with a world record at the end as well. So coming on Risco by Kiesla, it's a very straightforward map. Around this section where all the players are located is a part where keeping the gear is very important. So you might see some interesting back and forths happening if the players do get. Some people might go for the getting upper gear right in this part before the drift. Because in Trackmania, if you do get a slide or if you steer while a gear change happens, you do lose a lot of speed. So that's the main thing what players are trying to avoid, especially with the drifting as well in Trackmania. You need to at least steer for at least a bit, and then be in at least gear 5. And seems like we already have a sick round to start off, as actually Mime and Bits already showing masterclass in the warm-up as well, as we'll be starting the first round on Resco on this match.
This is so hard to comprehend. This looks just like every other round, but these times, they just are sick.
As we're standing now for the first round on Risco. Seems like Forever with a bit of a slower start, but too slower for, I would say, for this match comparison. As Bits unfortunate, a bit forced too much for the inside line, got dropped down to the bot, got pushed to the outside. Lost around 2.2 attitude due to that. The rest of the field, it all comes down on the gearing part. If one player or some people mess up the gear, then it allows Bits to catch up potentially. He really tries to risk for the inside lines, tries to get extra grip just to save up those potential to get that upper gear earlier. It's gonna be a 3-way fight for the top positions. Mime at the moment in a leading position, following by Deska. Desk had to readjust the drift a bit, lost a lot of extra speed due to that, so allows the Forever to come in as Deska really tried to push it for the inside line. That's a very awkward drift there because it's very kind of blind at the exit side. Forever touched it as well, and it will still be enough for him to finish. Bits wasn't enough fast to snipe it in the end because he clipped that inside that really didn't allow them whole momentum. But it was enough for Mime to take it with a 57-2 at the very end. But a lot of mistakes actually starting to pop up. We actually saw that in the previous map as well, like the first player. Basically, first round was an absolute fiesta, and then like round 2, 3, 4 was insanely close, where like basically you would just do 0.6 from world record, and you're still getting last.
Still, Bits really needed that third place on the last round because the point gap is starting to look bigger between him and Deska right now, third and fourth.
As all the players also gonna be, how did Forever not touch there? But it was so close. He was like so close on getting the touch there. But
Yeah,
it's still enough for him to not even advance in the positions as he's currently in third place. Bits of it is behind by 0.3 comparing to the Polish players. He will definitely try to push it. Mime did a clip. However, still big. Did get his butts, he clipped to the side, tried to go for the upper gear, tried to keep the skid marks going. And it was not enough to maintain the life as it led into the wall. That'll put him at the back of the field. Bits has a bit of a try to get an outside line to get a bit more extra speed. Goes for the inside, no touches from Forever. Actually, he got to do a small release snap. Call comes down the outside part. We have seen some insane fight at the tops currently. It'll be Forever taking it with only 7,000ths of a difference between the top two players, getting that -3 points that definitely can allow him to build that safety net that will be needed, especially that final rounds. And Bits in third with -7. Also Deska getting that only -5, and at least they're starting to drain down Mime as well, getting that, giving him that -10 as well. As we're going on the last 2 rounds of this map currently.
I'm pretty sure these players are just using no clip at this point for the outside lines because some of these are just not, they don't make sense. But now it's the inside line that gets Deska.
Yeah, Deska with an early mistake really tried to push it. Like at this level, like they have to push for all these places. Like we said, like let's say clean run is like 1 second from world record, but they really need to push for all these proper gears and as close to the walls to just maintain that momentum going all the time. Seems like Mime with a small adjustment allowed Bits to catch up. Currently Forever leading him, but Bits is in second place. It all comes down on the gear, seems like it. Bits trying to bend a bit more right, trying to get the earlier upper gear for a more consistent set, but seems like Mime managed to get it with the inside line. However, no slide from Forever's side allows both Bits and Mime to overtake Bits. Mime really trying to push it for the inside line, but still Bits managed to snipe him. All comes down on the outside line. Bits has a bit of consistent more approach. Doesn't allow to do pretty consistent times from their side as the speed was the same. And Mime will be taking another -3 in his books, putting himself on only 72 points. And Bits gets that really needed a -5 to at least put a bit more pressure on Deska, as both of them are now tied in the points at the very bottom. Now the last round and Risco. At the moment, both Into the Breach players are definitely looking as the both at the moment favorites points-wise, but both Bits and Deska can still potentially drain out the points from them if they get some proper rounds. And we can see some clips and stuff like that happening because they're pushing it so much, they're pushing so close to the walls every single time just to get as much momentum as possible, to get at least that 1 or 2 kilometer speed difference coming out of some of the turns, just trying to get that at least small advantage going. Currently, all the Polish players are in a small lead, while Bits is behind 0.2 compared to the rest of the field.
So wide with that one.
Yeah, Bits also tries to get to the inside line, so it gets a small grip, a bit of a speed advantage as well.
Yeah.
It seems like all players maintaining. Oh, actually, Bits got the upper gear. Bits got the upper gear. And Forever as well, but he lost it because he had to adjust it. Also, Bits with an unfortunate touch really tried to force for that inside line to snipe up on the top 3. Forever with an unfortunate line really had to readjust, loses all of his momentum, but so far seems like Mime is leading. Deska get a bit of better outside line setup with about the Brisk, and still Mime will be taking the first place with a 57-1. And Deska also with a pretty good time with a 57-3 as well. And then Bits with a small mistake, he would really try to push it, wasn't able to score him that -10. On the leaderboard.
Mime is really solidifying his place in first right now. But it is looking a lot closer between second, third, and fourth right now. Still, if they get to finalists, like the 3 players on the low end right now, they could farm points off of Mime to get him down as well. So still, nothing's set in stone.
So yeah, still even there has been really close rounds. So one thing to mention is that Mime was in the top 4 in the last Trackmania Grand League. So this is basically top 4 in the world.
Yeah.
In terms of competitive Trackmania as well. So the fact that also the Forever, Bits and Deska managed to basically stay there or seem the same pace is that the Mime managed to get that, let's just say, tiny bit more perfected some rounds that managed to split him from the rest. And also the consistency has been kind of similar to most of the players. Between just a small, just a pushy pace, if we can call it like that, gives that Mime advantage. As we're going to be going on auto-encoder, potentially for the last time in the tournament, Bits is currently left with 30 points, Deska with 35, Forever with 46, and Mime is with 69 as his current lead. He's got quite a nice safety net with over even 23 points over his teammate Forever in second place. But yeah, Bits is only 30 points away. That's literally 3 rounds of being at 4th place, and you put in reverse finalists. So when players run out of points, that was a really nice warm-up round actually, with a 56 as well. Okay, Mime is starting to showcase. Okay, maybe I'm like the top 4. Gotta show the skill difference here a bit. Yeah, in the way, first rounds coming on auto-encoder. Really insane rounds so far already, what we're witnessing. Will we see a Fiesta round as we have seen so far as the first round coming out from most of the maps? At least previously. So far, no silly mistakes coming on from the early side. We're going for the early tap trick as Mime touches the inside, gets put on the back of the field as the rest of the players are really close to the top 3 positions. Deska with a small drift adjustment puts him out of the top 2 positions. However, all the players managed to maintain the gear and are still very between 0.1 between first and third. Bits with a bit better inside line to get some, but also better setup for the grass spot. However, his entry was not the best. Makes all 3 players being equal. He clips the inside. He tried to force it for the inside line, didn't manage to get it. Both Forever and Deska are currently now in the 1-2 positions. Also, Mime has managed to caught up over Bits because Bits' mistake was a bit too great comparing to Mime's, but seems like at the moment Forever will be leading it. He really pushes for the inside line, almost clipped to the side.
56.
Another 56 as well. Absolutely insane pace coming from them, and Deska currently in second place, Mime in third, and that fortunate touch from Bits put him in with the -10
also,
to the very end.
Deska's uphill dirt outside line, oh my god, dude. That could just go into an oddly satisfying compilation. That was so clean.
Yeah, some things you mentioned that both Forever and Deska were dirt mains as well, so they're kind of a bit more used to the dirt. However, like let's say the dirt meta has been changed, especially to the new game, but there's still like the whole idea and like the grasp of the physics is still up there. Of course, that whole experience still ramps up, or so comes together. Yeah, so far seems like the next round, no early mistakes for everyone. Deska bit tried to went for the bit straight over, but everyone tried to go a bit sideways so that reduce the airtime to get a bit more momentum going, just to save like, I don't know, like 300s or something. But look at the rounds, like they're so close, 300s, literally depends if you're first or third, so it's really needed in this sense. Bits at the moment is a bit behind. Forever with a small adjustment with the break puts him at the bit of bottom of the field. It's got a small airtime. It put him at the best approach so far. Everyone risking over the small clip part.
Wow.
And it seems like Forever was the person who clips on the inside. Same with Bits and the Cactus, name a better duo today. And the Bits does hit the Cactus. Deska currently is leading the field with Mime in second place and Forever in third. Yeah, another sadly -10 for Bits. Just that one mistake always pops out that puts him at the bottom of the leaderboard.
So, yeah, my jinx just passed over to this game.
Yeah, you said with the last final, but well, you know, sadly happened. So at the moment, Bits is only with 10 points away. If he does get last, he'll be put in reverse finalist. And if he will be the reverse finalist, he will place last. He will be eliminated from the tournament, but securing fourth place in the tournament in the end. So currently, he definitely needs to get those extra few early points to get those -3s, -5s, so get that extra, let's just say, life opportunity during the match to give it still over. That's also an insane comeback possible from Bits' side to even clutch out to first place still if he just doesn't lose for the rest of the rounds. Looks like Deska with the early touchdown puts himself more than 1 second behind the top 3 positions. Definitely a position that Bits wants to see. Currently, Bits is leading, following by Into the Breach players, Forever and Mime in second and third place. Forever is starting to attack, Bits gets a bit more outside line. Mime gets the ball up, Forever had to be corrected. Both third players get an insane dirt uphill. Managed to pop up on Bits as well. Bits also had a very nice setup, but Mime was a bit more optimal. Managed to gain the difference of Bits. A nice setup there from Bits' side. Tries to really attack from the inside line. It's not enough to snipe it, but it was really, really close. Forever still takes the win with another 56th. And Bits in second place with a -5, Mime in third, and Deska in fourth. So at least Bits still stays in. He can still secure another first place to put himself with another potential round at the very
Mime
end.
is still sitting at 50 points. Holy.
Yeah, Mime is also trying to keep the upper pace, trying to, you know, get that, trying to basically get that safety net that he really needs to for that 1v1 that will come down at the very end part of the match. So far, Mime is currently leading. All players are actually very, very close. Small actually release at the Mine that cancels his momentum a bit. All players are still between 0.1. All players probably will maintain the gear because we have seen it's very hard to lose the gear there. It completely ruins all of your momentum coming from the backside. Currently, Mime, Forever, Bits, and Deska are very, very close. Only Deska having a bit unfortunate drift there. Okay, unfortunate a bit. Yes, comparing to everyone else, only lose a 0.07. Really insanely close round. What an insane entry from Mime as well. Everyone actually gets it really insanely good. And it's like it can go either way. Bits currently is a bit at bottom, but he got also a really good one. But this can go either way. It all comes down to this end. One insane round so far. It all comes down who can snipe the end. It'll be Forever taking it. One insane round so far from all of the 4 players. Mime does take the second place. Bits in third and Deska in fourth. Sadly, it's not enough. If Bits managed to take the first place, he could have at least have another opportunity. But now Bits is put in reverse finalists as we're going on to the next map.
Insane. That outside line from Mime there, that looked totally unreasonable to come out of that alive. Oh, he still managed to do it though.
So if you now look at the total points at the moment, so Mime is in with a pretty nice, let's just say, lead so far with 45 points. Forever in second place with 30. Deska is in 7th and Bits is already with reverse finalist. So if Bits does get last place, he will be eliminated from the tournament and will end up in 4th place. However, if Deska needs to be in bottom 2 positions and he will also be put in this status, it's all up on Bits now just to not be last. He has been trying to push the pace, but as we have seen, everyone's insanely fast. All rounds are like 0.1 difference for most of the round, unless something happens at the very end where the gaps tiny bit gets stretched a bit, I would say, if you can say like that. But basically, they still need to risk it even just not to be last, because sometimes being last is still like only being 0.3 from world record, as we saw on the previous map.
I still want to mention, right? Do you remember my prediction at the start?
So you said
Mime forever, Deska and Bits.
So far it's kind of looking following your prediction, but we will see. Anything can still happen. Bits also can potentially clutch out the win. The main thing for Bits is just not to get last in any of the rounds. He can also deny other points and players from, so getting first for Bits is also quite important and also kind of handy because it helps out other players to get those negative extra points that just drains the rest of them and gets them others that reverse finalists quicker as well. So currently no early mistakes, everyone managed to get the outside dirt properly. Bits actually with very nice adjustment, you saw he adjusted the steering just to keep the grip and not get the airtime. Small adjustment right there, comparing to Mime and Forever. He's still in third place over Deska, is ridiculously close to him as well. Coming out the upper part, a lot of momentum changes happening. You can risk it for the lower jump there to rank just on incline. It's kind of invisible where the incline starts, but at the moment it seems like Bits is a bit out of the bottom positions as Deska is securing the fourth place at the moment. Mime is leading the field, almost touched the wall. He did a small like Smurf-like movement, so basically he just maintains the gear while being underwater when you have the watery tower. So Deska coming from the back, and he does snipe Bits and eliminate Bits at the very end. Was a very close round, and what an insane exit speed coming out from Deska, but that will be GG's from Bits as he will be eliminated. What an insane end there from Deska actually. He got so momentum, especially coming over the freewheel block. Because with the freewheel block, basically shutdowns you can't accelerate. So the momentum you had, you're kind of stuck with that. One small mistake, and you're completely gone. So you have to respawn.
That
and he took it big to say, probably thought, okay, I'm still there, but Deska full risk it just to, potentially eliminate a potential contender out of it. And due to that, still, it was not enough. And Deska is also in reverse finalist.
We are down to the Polish match now, though.
So now we're down on potentially even into the bridge 1v1 as Deska currently is in third place. Mime is currently leading with Forever in second place, but main eyes are now on Deska. Maybe we see some mistake. Mime is really risking that underwater part for the split second because he really tries to get that full grip. He like snaps it to the left just to maintain the grip and gets a tiny bit more extra speed as well. But it does seem like that will be most likely it for Deska unless some mistake happens from other players. He also again has a stick and he doesn't manage to. It's not enough. Only 200ths of a second for him to securing a potential continuation in the match. And Deska will be securing the end.
These winning times as well.
With the third place. And now we are up down to a 1v1.
Even under this pressure, just to drive so well. It's so unfathomable.
Yeah, now we're down to a 1v1 between both into the breach players. So at the moment, Mime is with the best advantage. So the second place of the rounds will get the -5. Forever is of course the closest. Actually, no, Forever is, Mime is getting a bit more pressure, seems like it. He did a little bit oversteer, quite a bit unusual, so probably the pressure is coming into it now. Because definitely you would not want to lose, since Mime is like the main player of the org. So the fact that, would be kind of, losing to the secondary player, I would say. So at the moment, Forever is a nice lead, so as we're coming down to the 1v1 to decide who will be the winner of the tournament today. So far, Forever has a solid lead, trying to get to push Mime, just because since Mime has that 19 points lead, he definitely wants to just get those wins in, just to drain out Mime faster and faster and faster. Just to reduce that points gap and just put more pressure on us, as with the 49.6 was an insane time, especially to put more extra pressure on Mime. That, Mime is not the dominant one, Forever is also really good, and I'll put that extra pressure on him, so we have an insane 1v1 to look out now.
Dude, I'm having a heart failure just watching this. I don't know how these players are doing it right now. It's amazing.
So at the moment, Forever with a way better outside line will gets a lot more momentum comparing to Mime. Thought Mime gets a bit better adjustment, didn't use the break. As Mime hits the side, puts now Forever in a leading position. Now it all comes down if Mime actually does finish, because potentially Forever can increase the lead and potentially, so not allowing Mime to finish, because that's the thing that Forever really wants. If Mime does not finish in the given timeout, it will give -15, which is especially when they both still have points left, which is going to be the biggest advantage so far. As at the moment, Forever does have a solid lead, just trying to get that clean round in, just to basically put that extra pressure on Mime. But yeah, it seems like Mime is starting to become really shaky because you're put in this 1v1 situation. You're just you against another player. However, it's a very similar situation he probably has had in TMGL, where it's always like in also promotion relegation matches, but it was dependent all if you get a slot in a 1v1. So it's a bit similar environment, but it's not the same when you have to play against a countryman who is actually faster than him on certain maps. And also it's from the same team, so the pressure is definitely higher. It's also a bit on prestige and just trying to prove yourself that you are the main guy really here.
The thing with this 1v1 as well right now is that the amount of points you lose in each round, it's so tiny. It's
yes,
minuscule
it's so tiny,
between...
but it's so important as well as it really add up, especially since we're the last parts of like the event. Like you keep in mind, like basically Forever just loses 3 rounds, he was immediately put in reverse finalist. So those minus points, just not being second here at this point is the main thing that really drains out. As Mime has had a solid match for both the time, so he has managed to ramp up all that points lead. And that's why at this 1v1 that just maintaining that solid points lead, points gap between the rest of the players is so important because it's the points reduction is so minuscule. Like it gives so much more advantage and gives those extra rounds like where you can basically live on for longer within the tournament. As now we'll be going on Rose Raid for once again. So we might have 2 more maps potentially being played at the event, so we see who might be the decider at the very end. So it all comes down on the both Polish into the breach players who will be decided once they both get a pretty solid warm-up actually from the bottom side. Forever it does look like as a bit of a favorite. I would say Forever was definitely a better mental player comparing to Mime, so probably Mime is definitely feeling now the pressure now, especially since he has a couple of mistakes here and there. And we're probably gonna see as both players doing 56s casually in a warm-up. It's like, I think we're gonna see an insane 1v1 also on this map as well. As we're going to be starting the first round between Mime and Forever in the grand final to decide who will be the winner of the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open. It all comes down to the both of these players who will be the decider with the 1v1. Mime is with the points advantage coming into the 1v1 part of the match, as he's with 21, 9 points, and Forever with 40. Actually, Forever a tiny bit more extra speed, starting to build up the lead just a tiny bit. Also gets the grip from the inside part, but Mime tries to really push it, so it's all really close between the both of them too. Forever is currently leading, but Mime has a tiny bit more speed going onto the free roll, allows to equalize the speed. However, wasn't the best grip from Mime, really allows Forever to get that extra speed coming off. So they get the both of them got the inside grip part that allows to get that additional speed with you get the like the road surface grip. Mime had to release, barely still made a jump at the end. Forever is a very nice advantage, but still a proper water bounce from Mime at the very end can still toss it. And anyway, as Forever clips the side, he had not the best line, and it will give Mime a free round. Despite Forever having a solid lead for most of the round, just a small clip, not the best approach. He had a bit too much speed actually at the end. That kind of made him, lose it at the end.
Didn't want to
just
risk the clip there when going from the plastic, so went so right side, couldn't turn.
And due to that, actually, since Forever was the closest one to the danger zone, now he's only 9 points away, so literally 2 round losses, and he will be put in the reverse finalist himself. Meanwhile, Mime has more than 6 rounds that he can potentially lose, and he will still be in a massive advantage as well. So Forever can still potentially pull off the upset against the Team GL player, but so far it's looking good. But just those small mistakes with the pressure coming on as well. So far, insanely close round. Players literally with the 1,000 difference at the checkpoint as well. Mime has a bit more excess speed coming to the upcoming part. And both of them got the straight line correctly, since you just can have one type of line coming up next to that part. Pearl tries to attack, he gets a bit more excess speed. Meanwhile, Mime managed to get that perfect grip there, especially on getting the small road part. However, not the best grip, doesn't get that much excess speed coming here, allows Forever to potentially count up. Both players get a proper grip, Mime gets a proper part as well, but now it's only 0.0 seconds. Who gets the water bounce? Both of them didn't get the grip, it will be Mime getting another -3. And Forever will be left with 4 points. So Mime, Forever now really to get that, small extra, let's just say, life in the tournament. Just to at least hold on that 1 extra point, he really now needs to win the next round.
This is such a great spectacle. Like, holy, this is like peak Trackmania for me at least right now. They're putting on a really good show right now.
So far, very close round so far. Forever with a small advantage so far. Wasn't the best exit speed, however, he managed to reduce the airtime a bit more. All players are very close so far. Both players, actually Mime got a bit better exit speed here, so all players are now basically equal at this point. Looks like Mime got a bit better approach. Forever, however, with a better outside line allows to put in the middle part of the part. What to do with a similar exit speed, only 0.05 difference so far. Forever, a bit more exit speed allows to catch up to Mime. He did have to snap a bit oversteer. He had to just a tiny bit, allowed to Mime a tiny bit count up, but it's still basically equal at this point on who goes over. They're basically inside each other for most of the round. all the time. Mime has a small advantage, but it can now, who gets the water bounce, or if they will get it, can completely toss up the match. Looks like Forever tried to get it, he almost got it. That's a small car angle that came from the water physics, and you can't basically air brake, and just a small thing was enough to push him out, and Forever will be put into reverse finalist, and he basically Forever cannot afford to lose a single. He needs to win 5 rounds in a row to potentially win it, while Mime just needs to win 1.
Exactly, only with both drivers driving a .9 like that.
So this is potentially the last round of the tournament, but the Forever basically needs to win 5 rounds in a row at this point to secure a victory for himself, while Mime just needs to win one. Both players getting an insane outside line at the very start. They got them equal on top of that. Forever really tried to risk for the inside line to get that full grip coming from the inside out, but not the best approach because he had way too much speed, so he had to oversteer for the upcoming part. Small clip from his side, starting to not have the most optimal lines, however, very awesome setup. There coming from the dirt and road transition coming from the inside, gets a bit more extra speed, trying to close in on it. It's down only less than a 0.1 second, has a tiny bit more extra speed as well. He really trying to push it, just getting that extra pixel coming for every single part. If he gets a proper water bounce at the very end, this might be it. If only Mime takes it, it comes down to the end. None of them get it, and Mime will be the winner of the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open Tournament. Wow, what an insane final, but it's so close for most of the times. Amazing congratulations to Mime on winning. I would say his first LAN as well on top of that. It was such an insane match. It ended in such a sick way as well with the 1v1 as well. Like all the last match in general was so close between all 4 players. There was a world record done in the match as well. I think you couldn't have asked for a better final.
Oh my god. I was told that we should go interview the players now on stage. Oh, and we have mics and everything. Look at that.
Oh. That was an insane final actually to witness now on stage as well in Vilnius, Lithuania, that we managed to see such a masterclass of Trackmania. So I'll now speak with the winner, Mime, of the tournament. So Mime, you managed to take the win at the very end. How was the feeling that you were playing in this 1v1 situation with your teammate from your compatriots Forever at the end as well?
It was a tough match for sure, especially when it was my teammate. But I think the battle was very close. We drove really insane times. I think the match was insane. Like, I don't know what to say even.
Yeah, how did you feel like that you managed to even squeeze out a world record even in a part of one of the maps during the rounds? And I feel like that definitely potentially put us some like mental advantage as well due to that. Like because it's starting to become a bit shaky, especially when the 1v1 part started. How are you feeling when the 1v1 started and you're still starting to drop some rounds to Forever and having these bit silly mistakes as well?
Yeah, the 1v1s are the hardest matches to play in Trackmania because it's all about what the opponent does. Because you have to literally like full send it or save if you see that he's risking or not. You can't really predict what's going to happen. Many 1v1s have been played, and it's usually random who wins. But it all comes due to the mental advantage as well, because it's really hard to stay focused, especially on the later stage of the match, especially when it's so intense as that. But yeah, I think it was very good for me. I was prepared.
Yeah, definitely the performance, actually in general, from all 4 players at the final was absolutely insane. The pace was even sometimes when there was like 0.5 from world record, and you got last. Like there were some rounds like absolutely insane pace. So now I'll speak with Forever, who was the second place. How was it feeling in the 1v1, especially having a bit of like the disadvantage, but at the first early rounds, it seemed like, oh yeah, maybe I can get this, potentially maybe even pressure, but sadly did not make it. How was your feeling during the whole match and potentially in the 1v1 at the very end as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think that playing against Mime is very hard, especially as he's considered one of the top 5 players in the game. And, well, I was in a disadvantage, obviously, but, well, it built through the entire game. I mean, he performed on the top level. Everyone performed really well, and I think that this match was far beyond any other match we had so far. So, congrats to Mime. Well-deserved win, and congrats to everyone in the final. That was an amazing match.
Yeah, congratulations to Forever on the second place as well. Now we'll speak with Deska, who was the third place as well. managed to also squeeze out. How was it also tensing up because it was a so close match between all the 4 players? How's it feeling like you to play also on stage and potentially how are you feeling right now with your performance with the final?
Well, in short, I had a plan for the final, but the pace was way too good for the plan to actually come to plan. And about the feeling, it's magical for me for a bit. I play on this PC, which has such a good performance as well. The refresh rate, I think it really as well drove the level forward. I'm not sure if anyone has from the participants has played with such a good setup though. So I think that was also a factor why we got such a sick match. And if I may add, I think there's a bit to work on the format because, as we saw in the last round, it was very difficult for Forever to to catch up to MIME, even though the performance was very similar from both of them in the later phases of the match. And I think maybe a different points interpretation for the end, I guess, because you saw that at the end it was just way too difficult to catch up.
Yeah, congratulations on the 3rd place at the event. Was definitely an insane showcase of the final as well. Solid performance as well. I'll speak with 4th place Bits, the local man from Lithuania. How are you feeling in the grand final? Seems like it was a bit harder for you, but how are you feeling? How was your expectations of this match, and how were you feeling during the match, especially seeing how the paces and you were also managing to keep up? In general, how were you feeling around this match and this final in general?
Well, if people were watching the last match, I barely made it through, so I didn't expect to do that much, but I think I overperformed overall, and I think I was at my top level, but these guys were even better. I think most of them played best of their matches in the grand final, so it was hard to keep up. I think I did the best I could, and it wasn't enough, so I can't complain. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely was an insane showcase as well as to Trackmania as well in Lithuania as well. Such an insane skill for all the 4 players. Congratulations once again to MIME on winning the Comic-Con Baltics Trackmania Open. And we'll welcome the players all to come down here. So in the prize pool we had over 2,700 of value of euros of goodies from all the sponsors from Skytech, Genesis, and Noxo, as well as we have a check from Fieldman for the winner of the tournament, MIME coming up. Also getting a check from Fieldman for 150 euros on winning the tournament as well. So in the prizes also includes also everything that's also here for all of the top 4 finalists as well. It includes also all of the setup that we had at the booth, all the PC, mouse pads, keyboards, headsets, and also the desk itself as well. As a small bonus as well. So yeah, once again, so congratulations to all the Trackmania players for showcasing an insane final at the end. And definitely stay tuned for more Trackmania tournaments as well in the future, and stay tuned for the rest of the event at the Comic-Con Baltics as well. So thank you.